I was scrolling TikTok the other day. I saw some clips of Kai Cenat. You're the person behind those pages, and you're making $750,000 a year from that. How is that possible? Explain this to me.
I completely bullshitted my experience with these guys. Work with everybody from Kai and big Twitch streamers to politicians like Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, you work with him?
Any clip that you see on social media, if you spend an hour on TikTok, was probably at least one or two were from my company. We took them on in September or August at 200K on TikTok. They're at 2.6 million.
Oh my God.
I was the weirdest, most bullied kid at my high school. Half of those kids who bullied me have asked me to work for me. You just never know what doors are going to open from this stuff. It's one thing can change your life forever. I always felt like I was going to make it.
Whew, so this was a pretty insane podcast. Nathan and I get into a lot of really interesting stuff here. You can expect to hear how he went from literally nothing to where he is today, where he runs clipping pages for big online celebrities, is making over $750K a year doing it, and honestly was just a super awesome dude to talk to. So the promise of this podcast has been absolutely kept. He literally walked me through from step zero how he made the money and exactly how much money he made, including sharing his screens with me and showing me like the Stripe payments from his clients. And then we also went over some of the clips that he makes for George Janko's channel. And we went through the exact strategies that he uses on shorts to make them go as viral as possible. This episode had insane value and also had a little bit of the spiritual side in there, where we talked a little bit about the emotional and motivational aspects of entrepreneurship for him, and how that bleeds into other parts of his life, like why he does jujitsu, and how he's starting to build up the confidence to actually build out his own personal brand and show up on camera every single day. I really think that you guys will like this one, hopefully even more than I enjoyed recording this one. So without further ado, please enjoy the show. Boom, we're live. Okay, so I was scrolling TikTok the other day. I saw some clips of Kai Cenat. You're the person behind those pages, and you're making $750,000 a year from that.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Explain this to me.
Well, I was always a doom scroller naturally, love social media. And over the years of basically running fan pages for people and editing clips, and I started to realize some success. And I got reached out to by a few influencers and streamers like Kai, Sneeko, about 3 or 4 years ago. And it was to run their fan pages. And I started doing it and slowly realized that this could be a business that not only scales, but that businesses actually could use too, not just influencers. So yeah, it started there and we worked our way up into having anywhere from 30 to 40 clients at one time, all on monthly subscription, as well as a whole ad revenue side of the business too. So it's been a wild ride. But yeah, any clip that you see on social media, if you spend an hour on TikTok, was probably at least one or two were from my company. So it's pretty
You're
awesome.
the guy behind all of the brain rot TikTok streamer
Unfortunately,
clips.
unfortunately, I have rotted half of the United States population.
Well, I'm intaking that content, so I guess I'm in no position to blame you for it. Um, so yeah, what was interesting to me is, so I just talked to Blake Ryan yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
And I found him a similar way that I found you, which was I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw a video that looked pretty similar to my style. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I have no problem with people using my video formats as long as they put an original spin on it. And
Yep.
like yours, Blake's as well, and yours absolutely were. Like, yours was like non-guru explains how to print with
Yeah, I had a
Instagram
print.
theme pages, right? Or
Yeah.
something.
Mine was
And I was like,
I
whoa, that's
changed the
cool.
title a
Like,
few times, but yeah, something like that.
yeah, I was like, so same format, but he's in really a different social media platform and doing Instagram, a platform that I've struggled to make money on.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. But now I end up on a podcast with someone who's like way ahead of me in terms of how much money they're making. But again, cool for me to see that like you actually ended up finding me first because when
Yeah.
I saw your video, it means that
Yeah,
you looked at my video and yeah.
I was so brief backstory in that Jordan Welch had been basically mentoring me on how to build my YouTube. and he presented me the raw style, and he was telling me to look for outliers, and I saw your non-guru video as like a massive outlier. And so he told me, is like, dude, go rip that video, put your own style on it, do the same thing. And when you commented, I was like, I was happy because I had put in there that this video idea was from you. So I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. I was like, I'm happy that I put that in there because I don't like copying anybody.
Mm.
But yeah, it's crazy to see your come up, and money isn't everything. I think impact is a massive part of why I do what I do now versus doing something else like real estate or being in finance or all the other avenues I could have gone with my life. And I would say on an impact level, you are levels and levels ahead right now, which is cool to see. So you might be chasing me on an income perspective just for
Mm.
now, but I'm chasing you on an impact perspective. So I've got a lot of things to learn from you too.
Well, thank you so much. I take that seriously because, as you know, like a huge mission with my channel is like promoting transparency and rooting out like fake gurus.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole podcast is about, which I'm excited to get into because I don't take
Yeah.
on guests on the podcast unless they're willing to be transparent. And
Yeah.
so I'm excited to get a transparent look into everything you do.
100%.
So, and that's also cool. So, wait, can I ask also, like, on the finding the outliers, how did you find the outlier? Were you just
Yeah.
scrolling through YouTube using vidIQ to see outlier scores, or how specifically did you end up there?
Yeah, so I was using apps like vidIQ to basically scroll through, figure out who had like a 5 to 17x plus outlier within different niches. And then I would take
Mm.
those videos, try and apply them to our niche. So ecom YouTube is huge, and there's a lot of unique ideas there. Like I have a video that's being made right now that I took from a growth operator niche that was like explaining the
Mm.
business that makes me X amount per month at X age. So I have that video right now. But yeah, that's how I found it. I was just scrolling. I'm very good in short form media and like TikTok and Reels. Although it is brain rot, it does help you get a really great understanding of how to find outliers and just how to title content, package up content.
Yeah.
And so
And do content research as well, which is
100%.
how you end up there. Yeah.
Yep. So that's how I found it. I've cultivated a really good homepage on YouTube, and the top 5 results are always either you or Blake or somebody else in our space right
Mm.
now. So it's been really
Yeah.
cool to see that.
I actually, a big part of my inspiration of doing these like casually edited videos were from this guy, Mark Builds Brands.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
seen him?
yeah.
Yeah, I
The
saw one
guy
of
with his
his.
shirt
He
off
did
all the
like,
time.
yeah, and what he would do, I noticed, is he would always trend jack. So he would find something like he would be like when the chill guy meme was exploding, he posted a video that was like chill guy method to, and then insert whatever you're doing.
It's sick.
Make
I love
10K
it.
a month with e-commerce or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So that's
Yep.
another strategy I might try to jack a little bit more.
Yeah. No,
I
it's a
think there's a
great
lot of
idea.
stuff in politics I could definitely, like, how to make more money than Trump's tariffs or something with e-commerce,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and just
No, I like that.
run those to the moon. I think a ton of people would click on that just because it's so like
Yeah.
culturally relevant right now.
Yeah, 100%. I need to practice what I preach a little bit more too because, I've been trying to upload as frequently as possible. And
Mm.
in turn, I end up not really scripting out the videos and just pressing record. And it's easy for guys like us to just turn on the camera and go because everything we're saying is real, it's not fake. So I can just record and upload. And I haven't been as creative with my titles recently, and it's funny because I'm in my Discord catching myself telling people like, "Dude, your title just sucks. You need to repackage this video. You have to do it better. All this stuff." And then I'm looking at my own content. I'm like, "Wait, I'm not even doing that. Like, why
Yeah.
am I just rinsing and repeating the same video?" So yeah, you have to be able to critique yourself too in social media. And there's always, you got to stay up to date on all the trends, all the outliers constantly, and it applies to short form as well as it does to long form.
Mhm.
By the way,
Yeah.
quick
So,
question for you. The recording started kind of late into the podcast. I wanted to make you aware of that. I don't know if
oh,
it started
really?
recording like after the hook when you asked me, I think, how I got into everything. Then I saw on the top left it said recording 01, 02. I was like, I don't know when to
Oh,
bring this
really?
up. Yeah, I saw it on my
Okay.
screen a little. I wanted to make sure it wasn't a UI issue, but I was like, we're 5 minutes in. If we have to reshoot the hook, I should probably let them know now.
Okay, yeah, let's reshoot the hook at the
Okay.
end.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do that. Yeah, yeah, we'll
everyone
do
listening right now is like, "What the hell?" But yeah,
that.
they're like, "Oh my god, this is staged." No, we are going to restage the hook if that was not caught on camera.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
Anyways,
see.
so yeah, what I normally like to do actually is go in like chronological order of people's entrepreneurship journey. But I'm actually so interested right now in the because I know you have this stuff with making money in crypto and then
Yep.
working with Mark Cuban even.
Mhm.
And so that's I'm really excited to hear about that. But and I know that happened earlier, but I want to hear first really how you even got into clipping in the first place and how you
Yeah.
scaled that up to now working with clipping for 40 different creators and doing that as a huge business, how you ended up there. Like
Yeah,
how you
so
started, how you even realized you had a talent for viral clipping and then how you scaled
mhm.
that up.
So when I was in high school, so I'm 24 right now. So I was in high school in like 2014 to 2018. During that time, I was running Instagram meme pages and like sports pages. So I would just edit content on like whatever, I think it was InShot back then, or there was another app. And I was posting, I would gain 5,000, 10,000 followers. And eventually somebody DM'd me and said, "Hey, I'll pay you $20 to post this sports phone case that I made." And
And
so
you
I
were initially posting all this meme content completely for free, just
yeah,
what as
no,
like a
it was literally just a hobby. I didn't have many friends. I was super nerdy and like not hadn't hit puberty yet. I was
super
like
real. Yeah.
squeaker, like chubby, small kid, and I was, I hadn't hit my growth spurt or anything yet. So I didn't have any friends. And I thought the
Mm,
idea of having like thousands of Facebook friends was awesome. So I'd friend like a bunch of random people on Facebook and eventually transferred over into, Instagram pages, trying to have as many followers as possible. And it was not a popular thing, but I started to make some money. It was like $100, $200 a month. And I would start to show my mom and do all these things and eventually saved up enough to start buying these accounts. And so that's how this whole journey started was um, basically having like a bunch of like sneaker reselling businesses, all these things on the side to then fund what I loved and didn't even want to make money from. I just loved it. Um, and that turned into me connecting with a lot of really awesome people early. So people
mhm.
like Young Gravy and all of these influencers who are big now, I was kind of coming up with them. And there's so many people right now who came up with the phase guys. Like there's a guy named
Mm,
Anthony who would be awesome to have on the pod. He does all of Speed's short form editing. And I was talking to him and he was like a nobody 2 years ago. And now he's, Speed's editor and he has a clipping Discord. He's got a lot of really cool stuff going on. And he came up with people. And that's kind of what happened with me is I came up with a lot of the Viners and the TikTokers, the early stage TikTokers. Um, and eventually, I never wanted to sell something to my friends unless I knew that it worked. So,
mm,
using my social media experience, I actually got bullied out of social media. I went to an all boys Catholic school, so it wasn't a very popular thing to do. And when I was in college, I realized none of these kids matter. Like what they don't say matters, and they're not here anymore. So I got back into it with the meme pages. At the time, Reels was massive. So then I started to figure out Reels, and I was like, okay, Reels is what's growing these pages. That's what's going viral. TikTok was crushing. All these things were kind of lining up. And I hit up Young Gravy. I'm like, dude, I think you got to post more Reels. And he's like, all right, well, do it for me for free. Let's see if it works. And I went and clipped up his talk show stuff. This is probably 2020, 2021.
mhm.
And it just
How big
started.
was he at the time?
I think he had maybe 600K on Instagram. He was
And
very,
you
it
just
was like,
what, you cold DM'd him at that
I
point and
cold
he
DM'd
responded?
his friend. So I looked at his
Mhm,
Instagram, cold DM him. He didn't respond. DM'd him every day. Then found a bunch of his friends from like high school
mm,
by just looking at who he followed on Facebook and like who he was friends with. And then started DMing all of his friends. And eventually I hit up a guy named Vaughn who turned out to be his friend who became his manager. And Vaughn connected me directly to him and said, you got to give this kid a try. And transparently, I completely bullshitted my experience to these guys because I was like, oh, I generate millions of views for my clients. I do this, I do that. I was just running my meme pages. I was getting those views, but I didn't have
right.
clients. Like I was acting like I was the client, right? And you kind of have to do that. You have to be creative when you sell these people. Obviously, don't lie, but if you're hungry enough and you know that you're going to crush it for somebody, I would always tell people yes, even if I didn't know a clue how to do it. If they're like, you know how to do this? At the time,
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, for sure. And then I would go and Google it instantly after. I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this. So this was one of those situations, and it started crushing for him. And then word of mouth just kind of started crushing, like, yo, you got to get Nathan on your clips. And I had other businesses going on. I've done ecom, I've done everything, but uh, Clipper really exploded in the last like 2 years, and specifically in the last 6 months by word of mouth and personal brand. My personal brand is great now. So cold DMs from my personal brand, I've been able to get in touch
Right.
with everybody. So yeah, we've got almost every influencer, podcast, business brand you can think of is represented by us at some point. We're in negotiations with some really cool people right now too.
I see.
So
But it all started, your first client was actually Young Gravy, which is on its own
yeah,
crazy. But I want to
yeah,
say that echoes, it's funny because in almost all of these conversations that I have with people, Alex Hormozy's advice is like coming down into the podcast from every single time. So what I think
yeah,
is pretty a good lesson there is that you pretty much did it for free. You came to the person and said, here's something you're missing. I can tell, and here's my
100%.
proof. I've done it with all these other pages. Let me do it for you for free and prove to you first that this will actually make you more money and make you more famous or whatever outcome they're desiring. And
100%.
then pitching that to them. And that's like a no-brainer. That's where you get a no-brainer offer and people will agree to it. And if you can actually do what you say you do, um, they'll eventually bite
And that's
once
the most
once you get
important thing,
working.
is making sure that you can do. I know in this, I've already said, I would just say yes. The only reason I said yes to things I didn't know how to do is because I knew that I would learn it and be good at it and crush it. Like I would not
Exactly.
stop. And when something's free, they're not losing anything, you know? So
Exactly.
it's important. Like I never screwed anybody over. I kept an incredible reputation throughout this entire process. And it really, really paid off for me. So it's been an interesting journey. But yeah, Hormozy and his advice of just making an offer that people would be stupid to say no to, that was
Mhm.
massive for me. Because
Yeah.
that's, like the fan pages, us keeping the revenue, but they're gaining followers and they're getting more notoriety.
More
That's really
famous.
how
Yeah,
we
exactly.
became so exponentially successful monetarily. So yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then on the first client thing, that's actually funny because I had a pretty similar scenario. I found a way to do it, I guess, that where I didn't lie at all. But what I
Mhm.
actually had this prepared because I had a sort of similar offer. So like I don't know if you saw, but like I'm a big
Yeah, I
juggler.
saw. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so since I grew my social media through juggling, I realized like I knew a lot of other juggling performers that had same sort of scenario where they
Mhm.
already had all this raw footage of their performances. They've been learning how to be entertaining for like 30 years. So they know how to go on stage and entertain a crowd and then no shorts. And I'm
Yep.
like, bro, let me manage this for you. The first guy I talked to, I was like a little worried because he would be my first client. So I was worried he was
Mhm.
going to ask that, but I had something prepared. And eventually towards the end of the call, he was like, "So, would I be your first client, by the way?" And I was like, "Well, some people would put it like that, but I would say that you're my second client. And my first client is evident by my own page. You
Yep.
can take a look. There's millions of views, hundreds of thousands of followers. I view that as my first client. You'd be
Mhm.
my second one." And that's
Mhm.
what I told him when that question came up.
That's
Um,
exactly how you should do it.
yeah. So
Me at
again,
17,
completely
18,
truthful,
19
but
years
it's like,
old.
yeah.
Yeah. You have to just overall, like, and this is something for social media that we tell all of our clients at Clipper, is you do not want to sell your business. So I don't
Mhm.
get on the phone with anybody right now and say Clipper is the best clipping company. I don't say that. What I sell is myself, and I sell our team. And that's what you're
Mhm.
doing, is you were selling yourself. And if people believe in you, and it's the same thing for social media. We have a client, they're massive. Their name is Amalfi Jets. You've seen them everywhere, I'm
Oh, what
sure.
you
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen these. Is this the
So
guy who's like calling up the
yep,
I have a
Colin, yeah.
question. Are
Yeah.
those videos staged? They seem so impossible sometimes,
So
what people are requesting.
they
They're like,
have
"No, give me the flight by the blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "No way that they actually treated them like that."
so I cannot disclose. However, they have said previously that there are some calls that are portrayals of actual interactions.
Mhm.
So these are real interactions that have happened. Now, there are, of course, people who, after the fact, are going to say, I don't want my video on TikTok. and I'm sure that they'll go in and recreate, but I can't disclose that. But I mean, look,
Totally
I
understand.
think
Yeah.
I think if you have a brain, you can realize that not all of them are going to be real, right? But that's the beauty of social media is that what they're doing is they who if imagine I came to you before Amalfi Jets and I'm like, dude, private jet company, but we do phone calls on TikTok and that's how we land our clients. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Like that's nobody on TikTok buys private jets. I
Have they
can't just
gotten a lot of clients from there? That's my question, because that feels like such just brain rot entertainment. Like, I would watch
dude.
that. I don't know if I'd ever, I mean, I'm not in the market for a private
So
jet currently,
they're
but
the only people I can't be too transparent on. However, what I
okay,
will
no
say
problem, no problem.
is Colin, the owner, just
Mhm.
bought a Lamborghini Urus. He's 22 years old, and their business was already doing insane numbers. It has like 5x'd in the last 3 or 4 months.
Wow, from
It is
organic content
I'm
posting polls that they have with clients.
I'm talking like
That's
this
insane.
guy is probably going to be worth 9 figures because he also just launched an app for private jet consulting, and
Mm,
there's a subscription as well to that too. So even if you can't afford a jet, you can go and subscribe and get a concierge service experience. And so they already, I mean, they're just yeah. I think Colin's going to be worth 8. I mean, he's probably already worth 8. He'll probably be worth 9 figures, and it's all from organic content. Like they've been in business for 2 or 3 years. We took them on in September or August at 200K on TikTok.
mm,
They're at 2.6 million right now.
mm.
And we do
That is
every single
insane.
video. We started at 2 posts a day and now we do 10 every single day.
That's 10.
10
Okay,
posts a
I'm gonna
day
get
every
into
day.
that. I'm gonna get into that in a second because
Yeah.
that's also surprising.
Yeah.
But okay, wait. So that's really surprising to me actually as well because did you initially realize that that was gonna lead to that many conversions? Because with some of my faceless channels, we've tried promoting stuff that's in such an adjacent field. Like we have all these animal channels, and then we tried promoting pet products, and even after like tens to hundreds of millions of views, we made like $400 in commission, and it was like,
Mhm.
all right, well,
Yeah.
that's just so bad. Did you even
Mhm.
expect any conversions to come, or did you just think like, all right, well, maybe just one conversion would still be worth it for them because obviously it's private jets.
So,
Um, I
uh,
would never have expected a 5x from that type of content
yeah,
at
and
all.
and they were already doing numbers too. So it's
Yeah,
if I told you the number, your jaw would be on the floor. But
yeah. I mean, I
basically,
could imagine with like what a
it's
single
private
private jet.
jets. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what I will say is going into it, I was a little skeptical because it's private jets. It's such a high ticket item that and also Colin's a young guy. He's 22 or 23 years old, the owner. So and
Mm,
people not a lot of people know that, but I was young in business too, so I understand what it's like to have people doubt you. And basically within the first week we had a video hit 30 million views and I could start seeing that they were hiring more people, they were adding more people to the Slack channel, and they were growing anyways. But it definitely amplified. But I had no idea it was going to be like this. But it's good because sometimes we work so hard at something, and as a freelance video editor, as somebody who's kind of at the whim of YouTube Shorts and TikTok paying you Creator Fund, which I get paid from the Creator Fund as well. It's a great business, but
mm.
why not also be paid a monthly fee? But we can get into that later. Mainly, what I'm trying to say is that when you have all of these things that are lining up for you, it's awesome to have that first like whoa, I didn't realize what I'm doing could be this impactful
Yeah,
because it's like oh YouTube pays me a few $100 here, TikTok pays me $1,000 there, but when my company was at least let's say 30% responsible for that success, right? Or even if it's 20%, even if it's
yeah.
10%, it's insane. It's a huge boost to our confidence. And credit to Amalfi, they had an amazing strategy when we came in. But having the right team to edit these videos is incredibly important. And anybody doing YouTube automation and TikTok already, or long form or anything, they have those skills too. It's purely about how you leverage those skills and what kind of deal structure you set up.
And with the
So
right people, right? If you work with
100%,
one guy doing private jets, 10 million views to even
it's
1
worth
to
a lot more.
10 conversions like that, yeah, is going to be worth an insane amount.
100%.
Um, Yeah, that is insane. That is insane. So I want to get into actually how you like started scaling this in the first place.
Yeah.
Can I ask how many people do you have working at Clipper now? If you have 40 clients, I imagine it's a huge.
We have 12 people. Each
Wow, that
editor,
feels less. That's less than I expected.
we have one editor named Philippe. Shout out Philippe. He edits 16 clips per day. He is an
Wow.
absolute animal. Like this, he does Sarah Safari, Trevor Wallace, Harry Jowsey, QCP, Global Gaming League, Mike Signorelli, and a bunch of other people. And he does 2 posts a day for all of them. So
Mhm.
Lean Beef Patty, a bunch of other people I'm forgetting, but
Oh yeah.
he absolutely crushes it, and that's really important. So we don't hire virtual assistants. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm
Mhm.
trying to build something that is, like we have strategy. Like we are looking at pages and we're understanding the niche, and we can come in and again, and this is how you
And
go from
update
being a
stuff
yeah,
when
this
it's
is how you go from being a clipper to being a social media consulting expert, right?
right.
Is you understand the strategy. You're not just making brain rot videos for fun. You're going to a guy like Lacey, Stable, Ronaldo, those people. A better example would be like a Hormozy, and you say, like, hey, my team understands social media. Give us a percentage of any deal that we send to you for your coaching consulting program, whatever he's offering, whatever he's selling, and we'll run it and only give us 2 grand a month. Those people are going to say yes. And that's when you start to transcend Clipper to social media marketing guru expert,
Right.
just like how Gary Vee is with his company, So
Mhm.
that's what we're trying to build. We have 12 employees, but we cultivate them super hard, train them super hard. And if you saw some of the before and afters of some of these clips just in a day, the difference that one-on-one training can do for people, it's incredible.
Right.
So
So initially, when you took on Young Gravy, how much were you doing for him, and were you the actual editor for that channel at first?
yeah, so I was doing everything on CapCut, and I was posting 1 time a day.
Uh huh.
And I had no idea what I was doing, so I was learning as I went. And quickly, I found out that I wasn't a big video editor. I just didn't like it very much. I'm very ADD, so I can't sit still. And so I actually went and hired Philippe. So the guy I just told you who's a beast now, he had zero editing experience. He had a math major from Southern Methodist University, so completely unqualified to be a video editor, but childhood friend loved this guy, and I said, "Would you be down to like take this on and see what you can do?" He was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Like, I don't want to get my master's just yet, so like, sure, let's do it." And so he pretty quickly, probably 2 or 3 months in, took over the editing there. And at the time, I just told him, "I'm going to give you half of whatever I charge people." So I'm like, if I charge somebody $1,000 a month, you get 500. He was like,
Yeah.
"Cool, yeah, sure." And he's the only employee that I do that with now. I still
That
maintain
you
that he
work
gets a
on
percentage.
percentages
Yeah,
of
I give him
income.
50% of everything that he
I see.
touches.
And then so is the person who you have edit, do you also have them manage the pages and post to them?
Correct. So Philippe is
That's interesting.
Philippe is a rare exception. So we're actually pivoting operations away from that. So
Right.
now we just hired our first poster 3 weeks ago, and she handles I think 5 or 6 people. I think she's posting for like Danny Duncan and those kind of fan accounts. And
Mhm.
she's been doing great, and it's way better because now you can have editors. The problem is when editors have 8 clients or 6 clients, 5 clients, and they're posting taking away from their editing. So now the
Right.
videos are all late, and then you're posting late, and it was just too much chaos. And burnout is a real thing. So we just now have a poster, but Philippe and certain people like Alex, another one of our really expert editors, they also enjoy handling the posting because
Yeah,
they know how to
yeah,
grow pages. They know the
I
strategy
see.
behind it. So people who really
Yeah,
want their clients to do
I
well will
met
pay an
someone like
extra.
that recently who's like, "Yeah, man, like he's now posting for our faceless channels. We have it split
Sick.
up like that so that editors just actually upload their finalized video to the folder for the date that it's supposed to be posted on, and then
Yep.
our poster just actually handles the post for all of the channels."
Yep.
And yeah, he was like, "Man, I love posting videos." And I was like, "What?" Okay. I
It's
mean, I'm not gonna
addicting.
like
That's
for
Philippe too. Philippe got addicted. He would like a year in, he's like sending me like, dude, got 2 mil on this video in 24 hours. Like it's going crazy. And this is a math major. I'm like who doesn't care about social media at all. it's cool to see it, but people can get addicted to posting. So we try and let anybody who works for us cultivate whatever productive work environment they want. So if you want to be posting, I will pay you extra to do it, and more power to you. The only problem is if they get
It
overwhelmed and
interferes.
working
Yeah.
weekends and interfering with work. So
Got it. Okay. And then that's super interesting. So I was gonna ask also, since you're on TikTok as
yeah,
well. So
yeah,
you're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
yeah. We do Facebook as well. Anything, but those are
Facebook.
the big three is what we
Okay.
stick to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get into Facebook in a second. I'm curious. One thing that we have is like anytime we have someone new, right? All of my operations are virtual, so a
Okay.
lot of the people I work with I've never met in person. I think there's so much value in starting with a friend that you do know in person and just
Mm,
grinding that together, like having someone that just you've been friends with as a kid, you can trust all the way through. And
yeah,
I think I recommend anyone listening to if they're trying to start something, starting there.
yeah,
If once we started getting like more people though, more editors, more and posters especially, what we like is on YouTube we can add someone as an editor to the channel, so they don't
hmm
have the ability to delete stuff. They don't have the ability to um there's nothing they can do with the
yeah.
channel
They can't
basically.
screw with the accounts.
How
Yeah,
do you how do you trust people with giving them TikTok accounts when you
but
kind of have
yeah.
to just give them login access, right?
So I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of legal experience. So I, at the beginning, was writing my own contracts, and now ChatGPT can cook up a really great contract in like
Yeah,
5 minutes. And so we have everybody who works for us signed on a very strict. And since they're all in the U.S., um,
right. So you
they're
only hire
collectible.
from the right.
That's partially why is I don't
Okay.
trust VAs and those people to actually
Right,
log
right.
in. And because we're handling like some clients like will have us post on their main socials. Like George Shanko, we run the entire podcast account, right? So
Mhm.
I can't have just anybody logging into that. And what we do, I wonder if I have any phones in here because I've been moving all of our phones to our new office. But usually I have like at any given moment, I have like a stack of 40 iPhone 12s like with me at all times. And what I'll do is when I hire somebody, whether they're in California, Florida, Texas, I'll get them two phones and I'll ship them the two phones because most people start with two clients. And those are now their phones, but obviously they sign something of, hey, if you stop working for clipr, you have to send them back. And so I just have phones all over the place on Verizon LTE, and we
With it
never
logged
post on
into the
Wi-Fi.
accounts,
Yeah, they're already pre-logged in, and if the account ever gets logged out, at that point, hopefully, I trust that person
they've
enough
posted for long enough that
to
you
where I'll just give them the password. And they're signed on something too, and I am somebody who sees the good in people, so I try not to think about like what if this
yeah.
person. And it's been 3 years; we've never had an issue like that. The only thing we had recently was I had an employee that I had fired and we needed him to give us a code to re-access the account and he's ghosted us, so we lost that account. But that because we make such great content, we can restart an account and have it crushed within like 3 weeks, so it's not that big of a deal.
And then okay, so that's very interesting. So I actually for at least for my editors, it's almost all hiring from India or Pakistan, and
Yep.
it's just a lot cheaper. But I do think actually for the element of so with our automation channels, we have a lot of our main channels at a point where it's a lot of the creativity is taken out of it. So I don't need someone
Yeah,
with a keen eye for virality. I just need them to basically paste the clips according
100%.
to our sort of format. So for that, I think someone from India is totally good. But I think I agree with you, especially for what you're doing. Like you want someone with a understanding of virality and an understanding of like the U.S. like cultural context of whatever these streamers
Correct.
or clippers are doing, so they can pick out good
Exactly.
spots.
And that it's so massive because, for example, like Philippe, he also speaks Spanish. And there was a clip that he did that got 10 million views. And it was because when the language changed, he switched the captions to be translating from Spanish to English. And the client went crazy for it. And that video generated us like $3,000 in ad revenue across everything. And it crushed. And that was only because, not just because, oh, I hire bilingual people. I don't. Philippe is just somebody who, and when you hire people in the US and you're working with these clients who are paying you a monthly fee, you have the budget to go out and, pay anywhere from 18 to $30 an hour sometimes for some of our best. Like the guys on Amalfi, they are very handsomely compensated for everything that they
Mhm.
do because we're handsomely compensated. So,
Right.
but what you're doing is how I would advise everybody to do it, and start, especially if they don't have the capital to spend. I mean, our payroll is like 30 grand a month. It's
I was about
insane.
to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because we have one W-2 employee named Serena. She's our head of business operations and development. We just brought her on about 3 weeks ago. Absolute killer. Came from a big marketing company, and she's actually my best friend's fiance. So I met her through. I hire a lot of friends, which most people say not to
Yeah.
do, but I like it because I love what I do. I love who I do it with, and when you're friends with them, it prevents you from getting out of control. If, like, let's say something happens that's messed up, right? And I go to Philippe and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm cussing at him. I'm all these things. Like, I'm pissed. Because he's my friend, he's like, Nate, like, I love you, man. Like, relax. Like, we're gonna get through it. And I'll do the same thing to them. And with me and Serena, like hiring friends in general, you're not just gonna, like, I've established the boundary. I will never unfriend somebody because of work or business. And
Right.
it helps because when things get tough, I know that no matter what, I cannot lash out on this person and I can't just like let it not work. So we work through every issue. Like, I had communication problems with Philippe in the beginning because he wasn't communicating. And I'm sure a lot of people watching are like, my editors don't talk to me. If they're your friend, you guys will be able to work that out. So that's
Mhm.
something that, yeah, like, but our payroll is massive now, 30,000 to 40,000 a month. Most of everybody is an independent contractor. We have, obviously, Serena's our W-2. And I would say 90% of our employees are people that I was friends with outside of
I see.
editing. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was gonna ask. That's super cool. So one logistical question I had also on the posting though. Do you use a post scheduler to post to all three, or I guess also Facebook at once, or do you something like Hootsuite, or do you manually post to each of them?
So Hootsuite, I believe. So as of right now, we do manual posting.
Mhm.
We are trying to find a solution that doesn't affect engagement because we have a lot of clients who are skeptical about using third-party platforms. And I
Yeah.
believe Instagram's API just limited you to only being able to schedule out posts for business accounts. So a lot of our clients don't want to be business accounts. They don't want to they want to be influencer, they want to be creator, or just don't want any association at all. So it's been a little bit brutal, having to post that much. I actually was posting for Amalfi up until 30 days ago. So it sucks.
Do
It's
you
a
do
lot.
any posting yourself now?
No, not anymore. Thank
There
God.
we go.
It was
Working
awful.
on the business, not for the business.
Yeah, it was horrific. And it was because I didn't have anybody I trusted at the time.
Mhm.
And all of our editors were working so hard that I was like, and Serena hadn't started yet. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it myself. And then that's whenever I realized that that was costing us so much money. I couldn't make any sales or do anything until that was done. The second it was done, I put it in my Discord. I had closed $20,000 a month worth of clients in the last like 3 days.
Mhm.
And it was all people from.
Is that your main activity now, just
Correct.
closing new clients?
I'm the network and sales guy. I get on the phone with everybody, talk to everyone, cold DM everyone, and overall client success. So because I've learned so much in the industry, I look at all of our accounts every day, refresh them, and go and basically nitpick everybody's content on like why it could be better. And I've never had a video where I look at it and go, "Oh, it was perfect." So there's always room for improvement no matter what, no matter how many views the video gets. So
Yeah.
having that mindset is really important, especially if you guys are hiring virtual assistants. Like, having to critique them and do all those things is a natural process. And I had a Danny Duncan video that was actually made by somebody overseas that got 3 million views. It was my first time experimenting with hiring somebody overseas, and they're in Europe. and they got 3 million views on their first video with us. And it was after I critiqued them for basically a week. And I was very confident in them never being able to pick it up. And they did. So it's 100% possible to do that. It just takes a lot of time, effort, and training. But now, luckily, I just train and do sales. And that's what I think every CEO should do is
Train, yeah.
train, sales, and just overall business development.
Yeah. Do you have someone helping you with training as well? Or
Yeah,
is
so
that like the hardest thing of the business to actually find someone who really is fucking viral by themselves? Like,
it's very difficult. However, I got lucky and had my first two hires became social media experts with me. And
right.
so I pay them a bonus. Basically, what I do is I load up all of our best clients onto our best
To
editors.
them.
So, best clients, best editors. Once I have new clients coming in who I think have more potential to scale, then let's say Philippe has XYZ, and that's our top editor, Philippe. He has XYZ. If A client comes in and I think A is better than Z, I'm going to take Z out, plug A in, but tell Philippe, look, you're
Train
I'm
him
you
while
need to
you
make sure that this guy is good. Have him edit if he's doing 2 clips a day, I'll have Philippe edit one and the other guy edit one. And the time that Philippe would have spent editing that other clip, he's then instead coaching the other
training.
guy. So that's kind of how we do our training process. But for example, I had to sit there for 4 hours the other day critiquing on frame and adding comments that were time stamped to somebody's video because it was so long and so bad at the same time. And
Yeah.
eventually it looked great afterwards, but it was for the Amalfi's first YouTube video, their first vlog. We had
Oh,
four
so
hours of
you're
raw content.
starting getting into long form as well.
Exactly. And so all of these clients who are doing short form, we're now pivoting them into also creating long form because guess what? The more long form they make, the more short form clips they're going to need. So guess what happened? We started a podcast for Amalfi and we started vlogs for Amalfi. Guess what stemmed out of both of those things? We now want a
More
podcast
shorts.
account and we now want a vlog account too on TikTok. We also want 2 a day here and 2 a day here. So then the package is now 10 a
Yeah.
day
So you
plus
could
two
even
long
go
form ideas.
negative on making them start their podcast just so you could make a shorts channel for
I
that.
told them, I'm
They
like,
could make
dude,
more money.
like I told them I will not charge you guys a single dollar over what our editors charge us for long form. I don't care. I'll do this long form at cost. We just are making money on the short form. That's it. And they agree every time.
That's a really good offer. Yeah, I think that's a really important lesson too, making sure that as you scale, you're not actually posting on any channels and you're
100%.
also doing your best to make sure you're not even training on most of the channels. I think that's a really good strategy. I've tried implementing that where like when a new editor comes in, I have my old editor train the new editor as the old editor gets phased out of that position so I can bring my best editor onto the next newest most valuable track.
Exactly. Exactly.
um, that's interesting. So let me just finish up on the expenses side of things.
Yeah.
So I know you said for someone you've worked with, like Felipe,
Mhm.
was like more of like a split in like a more of an incentive based on how much you get paid is you just split that with him. And then are
100%.
the other people doing it on flat rates? And then one more question.
Mhm.
Why do you have any incentives for your editors to get paid more if a clip goes more viral?
Yes. So I'll start with the first question.
Mhm.
Philippe is paid on incentive. Other employees that we have now, excluding our outlier clients, so excluding Philippe and excluding Amalfi, basically, they get paid on a per clip per day basis. The reason I do this is because when you incentivize people by being paid by the hour, they are going to want to work more hours. I incentivize people based on task completion because when they are getting paid to complete a task, their goal is to become as efficient as possible in completing that task. And if they
Mm,
are somebody who tries to rush the job, then the videos aren't going to perform and they're going to get fired. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So I
I
pay
see.
them I pay them anywhere from $500 to $800 per clip per month. So if somebody's editing 1 clip a day, they get $500 a month. It comes out to are really, really good editors, they can make a clip in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
when you do it by hour, it really comes out to being 20, 22, 25 an hour, which is a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you think about editing, it's a good amount of money. But you have some of our other editors who maybe aren't quite as good yet. They get paid maybe only 18 bucks an hour because it takes them an hour to do a clip.
Right.
So it all evens out, and it's a really great way because people like Philippe, because they're so good at it, they can take on more workload. So hopefully Philippe doesn't get mad that I disclose this. Philippe has been making $9,000 to $12,000 every month for 3 years with me. Like it's that, and it's because he got so efficient that he can manage more work every day. He works the same 9 hours a day, but now, or 8 hours a day, however much he works, but instead he has, you know, 10 clients instead of only having three. So
Yeah.
on average, most of our editors who are full time, and what I mean by full time is, you know, clipr is their only thing and they're making enough for this to be their only thing. They're editing for about 8 to 12 clips per day, which will put them anywhere from like 4,500, 5 grand a month, all the way up to like 7 or 8 grand a month. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
they are on a client, talking now on incentives, they will be getting sometimes a percentage of ad revenue as well. So if we keep all of the ad revenue from fan accounts, they'll get 30%. If we keep 30% of the ad revenue, they get 10% of overall ad revenue. So
Mm-hmm.
TikTok and YouTube Shorts in those pages, those are great ways to incentivize our editors. And it's really like a perfect storm, man. I have to be honest. Like, I was wondering, everybody's problem with SMA is the client sizes are so small and the bills are so small and it's hard to pay employees, hard to pay yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Having shorts be monetized on TikTok and YouTube Shorts completely eliminated that issue because
Yeah.
we have a client paying us 3 grand a month, who then we also make an extra 5 grand a month from ad revenue. And so now I can pay my employees, bonus them, and I have money left over for myself. So it's been really interesting to see how that, you know, works. But our editors in the beginning, they don't get incentives unless they get a video with over 1 million views. That's their first incentive. Get a video over 1 million views. If you do
Mm-hmm.
that, I'll give you 100% of the ad revenue that video generates. Or if the page isn't monetized, basically I'll give them $100. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, there you go, $100.
That's
Then,
interesting.
yeah, then if they get 10 million views in on one single video, I'll give them $500. And
Mm-hmm.
like just as a one time. Now, once they start doing this, these are one time goals, because the way I reward them for hitting these is by giving them more clients. So now they know, oh, I can make a lot of money here. Now I'm interested. I want to make more. I'm getting better at this. They're getting faster, faster,
Yeah.
faster. Okay, hey, now take on another 2 or 3 clients. And then we've had people move to Houston to come work at our offices as like one of the things that motivates them. So yeah, it's interesting, and I'm definitely working on paying everybody uh, more in terms of incentives. But that kind of gets into where the business is going, is we want to start owning our own intellectual property. We want to start making our own shows, kind of like what you guys are doing on YouTube automation and those things where you kind of own these assets. We are now going to start getting into that a little bit because we have such an amazing team that we could really do anything in the space.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's what I kind of felt like opened up for me because I started with the juggling stuff and then realized
mhm.
I had an editor. And that's when I realized, like, wait, there's so many people making money with like all these juggling videos I post. I have to make the video every time, but I have this editor who's so good. Why am I using him for just this when I could use
Yeah,
him for videos that don't have my face in it as well? But
100%.
yeah, I want to touch. So that was an interesting point. So when I talked to Blake, he basically said he was like controversial take here. I don't believe in quality over quantity. Especially on social media, he believes in quantity as long as it's good enough, basically, which I think is what your incentive actually structure aligns with because it's like
Yeah,
you want the editors to be above a certain standard, like good enough to post, um, but be really efficient and make a lot of videos. And I think
if
with social media, like getting a fuck ton of shots on net and getting reps in to improve is probably the most important thing um,
100%.
compared to quality. Because there's just a lot of luck involved half the time that you don't even know for sure what's going to go viral and what's not,
Yeah.
and just throwing up as many shots as you can
Yeah, my
is
first video
a good way
ever
to guard
on
against that.
YouTube got 6,000 views, and I literally recorded it, didn't script it out barely at all, and just uploaded it directly. Didn't even edit it, just put it up there. And I put up a shot
Yeah.
and it went in. Now every video after that has been harder to get as many views. And that's sometimes
Yeah.
how social media works. So now the other thing too is on terms of quantity over quality, I understand what he's saying. I do
Mm,
think that as AI gets popularized and more people use it, there's going to the level of like baseline to get views is going to start to slowly creep up. So right now you can post an AI video and get a million views if the moment is good enough, which I think is
yeah.
important to stress. What we mean by quality over quantity or quantity as long as quality is good enough. What that means is not go and find some random YouTube video that nobody cares about, clip up some horrible moment from it and put some subtitles on it and post it because you're not going to get any views.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of the time in YouTube automation and in short form is making sure the content is that people actually give a shit about it. So for me in my business, if we clip up the craziest moment of Danny, like the Danny Duncan clip was him bailing some guy out of jail, it's pretty hard to screw up captions on that video to a point where it wouldn't get millions of views. The reason it got million views is because of the way we cut it together. It's a 13-minute video and we cut multiple different moments from different time periods to build this story of this guy who went from being bailed out of jail to the reason
Mm,
he got bailed out of jail. Danny warning him, please don't trash this hotel room. And then the clip ends with him pooping all over the hotel room and getting a call from the guy. Like, dude, he shit everywhere. Crazy clip. Subtitles didn't matter on there. We could have posted that with no subtitles and it would have gotten millions of views.
yeah.
So I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
However, you really, really have to be sure that you're understanding the moment that you're clipping, or if it's long form, you have to understand that you're portraying a story. And then if you're portraying a story and everything there works out, you can have a VA edit it and it will end up fine. So definitely do not be a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. Like you said, put up as many shots on net as humanly possible when you're starting out because and that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm starting from ground zero on my YouTube channel, and you've had a YouTube channel before, but on your unfiltered channel, that was starting from ground zero too. And we're
Yeah.
both learning, we're both experimenting with things. So don't be afraid to fail and fall on your face and keep trying new stuff and have videos that get 3 views. It's embarrassing, but you learn from it.
Yeah. No, 100%. On the luck thing, your first video hitting 6,000 views. My third video was that non-guru video, which is at like 350K now. So
Yeah,
I had been posting professionally edited professional thumbnail videos on my main channel for like a year, here and there, like maybe a couple videos a month. But yeah, I posted that one and it just blew up. I like If you had to tell me to predict in advance, I wouldn't have put my money on that one being the
yeah,
one that pops off.
same here,
So
same here.
shit happens like that.
It
But yeah,
does.
getting the reps in is how you get better. Like I've had people ask like, dude, I want to start my personal brand. Like, what should I post? I'm like, bro. He's like, but I'm scared on camera, so I don't really know how to do. I'm like, make a TikTok account, post as many video, like every time you get an idea, make a video of you talking to your phone of that idea. Do that
Yep,
every day for like a month, and then consider making a YouTube channel. Like if you're not comfortable on camera yet, you need to just get in reps and just get better. Really
100%.
just get better.
You
um
have to because without getting the reps in, it's always going to feel foreign to you, and that's this fallacy that people fall into all the time. Is well, I'm dude me, and for anybody out there, hopefully somebody finds peace in what I'm about to say. I was the weirdest, most bullied kid at my high school, and keep in mind, I went to a Catholic all boys school. There were guys, and there's nothing wrong with this at all. There were guys at this school who dressed like women and attended school like that. And back then, it was a little bit not as common. Now, obviously, it's accepted, and I have zero issue with this. But those kids were getting bullied, and it was horrible. And I was looking at them like, "This is awful." And then they would come and bully me too. And so I was like, and I was more severely bullied than them for doing social media. And at the time, social media wasn't that crazy of a thing to be doing, but you have to like fight through all of that. And there were so many other kids at the school that got horrifically bullied. Anybody with like people with learning disabilities, people who were just a little bit different than everybody else. Like I said, like we had guys who wore makeup to school, and I would become friends with them because I was like, dude, I get it. Like it sucks. It's horrible. And
Yeah.
some of those people that I met during this time, and some of the popular kids, there was a really popular kid at school. He was always nice to me. His name was Dylan. Dylan came to me after I got successful. This was about 5 years ago. And he showed up at my house one day and was like, dude, I'm going to rehab. When I get out, I want to live with you and I need to change my life. And Dylan, since then, lives on his own, like rents his own house, makes his own money. He worked for Clipper for a while. Then he took what he learned from Clipper and then applied it to real estate. And now he's a crazy great real estate agent in Houston who posts all of his organic reels and all this stuff.
That's
And
awesome.
for people out there who are like basically in that same situation, think of I let those people force me because all the bullying. I never wanted to show my face on social media ever. That's why I became a clipper. And that's why I went behind the scenes is I was living vicariously through all of these people. And it wasn't until I was 24 years old. And later on in the podcast, I'm sure I'll show my income statement and all this stuff so
Mhm.
you guys know that I'm legit. But um, I, it took me making millions of dollars and being 24 and bringing in billions of views before I ever turned on the fucking camera on myself to upload a YouTube video. I used to do it when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, and then I got bullied out of it, stopped. It took me 10 years of social media to get back in front of the camera. So anybody who is experiencing that, I get it. Like I am so I literally on my other monitor right now am looking at my recent upload and it being ranked a 7 out of 10 and I'm like, fuck, man, dude. Oh no, this is so cringy. I can't believe it. Oh God, my life's over. It's so normal, but it's one thing can change your life forever. Look at Bennett as a great example of this. Been posting for a year, wasn't working the best. Like he's getting some traction. Imagine that day where you were just like, fuck it, dude. I'm just going to turn the camera on and go. Imagine you're like, I'm kind of scared. I don't know. I don't want to do it. It's nerve wracking. I'm not, whatever. Like think you would be sitting here making videos still, but this podcast wouldn't be happening. Your
Mhm.
Discord wouldn't have 6,000 members in it. You wouldn't have me looking up to you from a brand perspective of like,
Yeah.
dude, this guy's fucking got it going on. And I let fear inhibit my life because of the bullying and everything I went through. And when I tell you, half of those kids who bullied me have asked me to work for me. Uh, I'm not lying. They've either asked me to work for me, asked me what I do, called me, and I ran into one of them at this comedy club. So this is the funniest thing. We were working with, if you guys know Shane Gillis, he has.
Oh, you work with him?
So we were running clips on trial for
Oh
him,
my
right?
god.
And
I love
so
Tangus.
he's awesome, and he has a friend named I believe his name is Matthew. Let me look this up. Hold on, Shane Gillis and Matthew McCusker. Okay, so they have a podcast. Matthew McCusker, right? He came to Houston to do a show, and I'm at the show, and I run into this kid who bullied the living shit out of me. Like one day in PE, he literally kicked my head while I was on the ground because I tried to trip him because I was pissed at him.
Oh
Because he was
my
like,
god.
"You're gonna ruin my football career." At like complete douchebag guy, right? And
Mhm.
I see him at the show. And now that I'm big and I fight, so I'm not scared of anybody. And nobody picked on me after I learned how to fight in high school because I started
Yeah.
wrestling
I wanna
shortly
get
after.
into that actually
Yeah,
as
we
well.
will, we will.
We'll get into that
Yeah,
at the
we'll
end.
we'll
I'm
get there.
curious about
But
that side.
I ran into him there and he's like, bro, what's up? Super friendly, all this stuff. And then he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, well, like Matthew, the guy that you're seeing perform, he's actually a client. And Matthew comes out from backstage, points at me, has his security bring me in, and I go backstage with him. So it's like, fuck you, buddy. Remember all the times you were bullying me? Literally at a show that you're in the audience of, I'm going backstage to meet the guy. But like, yeah, you have fun. Now, me and him have since made up and we're good. And he's apologized. And all these guys went and apologized. But don't let them stop you and don't let nerves stop you from absolutely changing your life. Like
Mhm.
it's insane the earning potential that you gain from having a personal brand. Bennett could go right now and launch a software product. He could launch a real estate business. You could launch a business in any industry, and you are going to have at least one client because somebody in your Discord, somebody who knows your personal brand, is going to come over and do it. And people preach it all the time, but I am a living, breathing proof that those fears and those preconceived notions you have about yourself are absolute bullshit and you have to ditch them. Like you got to just turn the camera on. And what I did to get over my fear was I made a separate YouTube channel that nobody knows about. So I have 400,000 followers on Instagram. Half of them are fake from those giveaways all those years ago, and half of them are from the page being a meme page before. And I got it verified. I did all this stuff, right? And I was terrified still of doing a YouTube channel and it getting no views. So I made the name Nate J Biz when my real name is Nathan. Nobody calls me Nate. And I made it Nate J Biz. I didn't post it anywhere and just ripped an upload. And it worked. And I still
That
haven't posted it on my story at all. So all these people that I've
yeah,
met
that's
have
so
no
funny.
idea who I am, no idea the Instagram. Like it's awesome. So if anybody out there is struggling with that, make a fucking fake name and just let it rip. Like just send it. Why not?
That's so funny. That was my exact rationale when I started social media. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a new account, make sure my contacts are turned off. No one from home is going to see this. And
Yep.
if I fail, I'll get no views and no one will really see it. If I succeed,
100%.
then maybe people from my hometown will see it, but they'll see a successful page or a
Yeah.
successful
I
video.
actually want to, I'll give a great example of this. I'm going to share my screen real quick if that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just
Um,
add it to the stage real quick.
yeah, it's going to be this. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy right here, I went to high school with him. His name is Matthew Irby. Now he was on my rugby team. He was a great guy. Just again, I hadn't advertised this channel to anybody, but this is the impact that you can have on people by just getting out there and posting content. Hey, Nathan, this is Matthew Irby or Mustard in the clipr Discord. So I had no idea he was in my Discord. You may not
Mhm.
remember me, but we both went to Strake Jesuit and played rugby together. I just want to reach out and say thanks. I've been following your YouTube journey for a bit, and your video, I Sacrificed My 20s and Made Millions, My Biggest Regrets, really resonated with me. I'm currently in a time of life where I needed to hear what you said, so thank you for doing what you are doing. In addition, since you've been in social media space for over a decade, I was wondering what your thoughts are. And then he, asked me a few questions and basically said that he had been clipping and doing it himself, but didn't have any advice. But, you know, I responded with, dude, you're Mustard. Like that's insane. And he had actually attended an AMA and I had no idea that it was him.
Mhm.
And I had spoken to him and heard his voice and didn't connect the dots. But the impact that you can have, it's so fulfilling. It's so much more fulfilling than making money. I swear to God. Like that DM meant so much to me. I wanted to frame it and put it on my wall. And since he's local, I actually had him come to the office and we're thinking about hiring him full time for clipr as well. But like, you just never know what doors are going to open from this stuff,
Mhm.
and actually making a difference on people's lives is it's incredible. And you're doing it too. And I'm sure you get it now as well. And Blake too. But
Mhm.
that's really what I set out to do in posting is just find somebody, a kid who is just like me, super lost and confused, and let them know that it's okay and that they're gonna fucking do it, you know?
Yeah. That is incredible because this is it seems for you becoming successful with this was actually a lot more of a spiritual journey and a
Yeah.
mental journey than just a materialist journey.
Yeah, dude. I've got some crazy, I'll pull something up, but on the topic of having that spiritual connection to being successful and like I always felt like I was going to make it. Even though I had doubts, everybody has doubts, but I always just like acted and my mindset was always like, dude, I'm going to do it. And I don't know how. And it's okay to not know how. Um so I'm going to share this as well. Hopefully you can hear the audio because this is really to me what's meaningful in doing this. This is a private Instagram I have with like 30 followers on it. And
Mhm.
this is a video of me in 2019. And I posted this obviously in 2022 after the fact. Oh, there's my cat. I'll show you guys the page. I've showed this in
Very
videos
cute.
before, so it's not a big deal. But like, I'll just post random stuff, my life. And this was, yeah. Can you hear the audio? Life sucks
Yeah.
sometimes, man. It really does. This is me in my
But
car, just depressed as hell.
you just got to find the people that you live life for. I'm living for my mom and my brother. That's it. If I didn't have my mom and my brother, I wouldn't be here, genuinely. But I have them, so it's made me want to push through a lot of shit. So yeah.
And then I have this right after.
So hopefully, in a year from now, I'll be driving a Tesla, my own Tesla, be, be able to almost support my family, or actually just support my family. I know it's going to take a lot of money to support my family, so hopefully a year from now, if we're being realistic, I can almost support my family or be pretty damn close to being able to support my family. And hopefully my battle with mental health is going a little bit.
So this is like, again, I posted that in 2019. Here's my Tesla, RIP. But a
Oh,
year
no.
later, I bought my own Tesla and literally made my life turn into exactly what I wanted it to be, going from somebody who was just, I would manifest videos of myself on my phone all the time. Like, it's crazy. It is 100%. That's the best way I think anybody's ever put it. Is it was a spiritual journey for me to get there. It was a
Mhm.
personal development, bettering myself every day. Perpetual learner is what one of my business partners calls me. Is I always want to learn stuff. I'm always trying to figure out new ways to make money and figure it out. So it's a great way to put it. But hopefully somebody out there resonates with what I was saying in that message, and maybe that's where you are as well.
Yeah, I mean, even I resonate with the idea. I mean, with like posting on social media for the first time, it's a really scary thing to do. I was kind of, I feel like, in a almost an opposite situation. So I went to definitely a pretty elitist like private school
Yep.
for when I was
Same for me.
younger, before college. But like there really wasn't any bullying, I'd say. Like someone getting the fact that you got kicked in the face, like if that happened,
Yeah,
that just would
crazy.
never happen at my school. Like that
Yeah,
person would
which
be like
and it
expelled probably.
when
Like
I talk to people about their school experience, my buddy who went to school with me, he's like, "Oh, I never seen a fight." I'm like, "Where were
yeah.
you when I was getting
No,
beat
yeah.
up, dude?"
There were never like my school, I don't think really ever had like a fight, like an actual like
Yeah.
school fight, which I see all these recordings of other kids at school at like public schools fighting,
Oh
never
my
happened.
god, dude.
I think we just
Wild.
had like a lot of teachers compared to students.
Mhm.
But the thing that I sort of felt because of that is that like almost everyone there or like a lot of people there are taking a very traditional path. So a lot of the people I talk to are it's almost all people becoming lawyers, doctors, investment bankers, or that sort of thing. And so taking a non-traditional path was actually, in terms of like the expectations surrounding my peers, a very difficult thing for me.
Yeah.
Um, and so like since high school, it's something I've sort of like. It's been hard for me to maintain good close friendships with friends from high school that I have that I feel like aren't fully like in support of that, or they're not
Mhm.
against it clearly, but like yeah, that's kind of been my journey.
No,
And
100%.
so
And
but
I
I
get it.
definitely relate to the thing of like I did not want people from my high school knowing like what I was doing with social media really like and so that was scary and hard for me, but
Yeah.
I'm really glad like it turned out like this for you, and that like even
Hey,
fighting
you
through
as well. You as
that
well.
mental health journey, like that is truly an incredible story.
Yeah.
um But if you're down, I want to get back
Yeah.
into some of the money side of things now. So
Let's
we
do
went
it.
through. So actually, first I'll ask one last. I guess we kind of got through like the expenses side of things. I have
Yeah.
one more question on that. How much money would it take to get this podcast made into the most viral short form clips of all time?
See, that's such a great question because I'm a firm believer that it doesn't take money.
Hmm.
Like, me and you would have, like, in order for that to be possible, you know what I would do? I would spend however much money it takes to get somebody like Hormozy on here with us, and then I'd pay a clipper $1,000 a month to run it up. And I promise you, those clips are going to go viral. That's the biggest thing that
and
is
make
like the
more than $1,000 in the first place.
yeah, it's like for me, it's all about people. And I think with me and you on this podcast, as much as in our respective niches, a lot of people know us, to get this video to go viral, the only way to do it is we would have to touch on something current event wise. And it literally, but none of the things that we would do would cost money. Like
Mhm.
it's pretty it's a very interesting space, but that is a funny question. I would say if you want me to get this podcast a million views, knowing that, we have a relatively small in comparison to like Jordan Welch and those guys' audience, I would say I could get a clip from this to do a million views with like 20 grand. And what would be interesting is maybe I do this. I have this software in my Discord that is private, but it'll let you track your stats on pages for certain videos. I
Mm.
could put out a bounty, like a $5,000 bounty for whoever can get the highest viewed clip from this
That's
podcast.
what I was thinking, actually. I was thinking of hosting a
That could be,
contest,
yeah, we
uh,
should do that.
because I'm working with an agency right now helping me with my shorts. But
Yeah.
again, there's sort of the thing I'm a little worried about, which is like, will they be able to clip as good as someone from the US? And with like my long form videos,
Mm,
I've had no problems. With shorts, I feel like there is a little more, again, like cultural context that goes into that. And so I'm thinking
100%.
like, that's one thing I was thinking. Like I could just put out an announcement in my Discord and be like, whoever makes the best clip is I'll post each of yours, and whoever gets the most views is hired. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, what's really funny actually is this is something I needed to mention to you anyways, and it's good that we're on the pod. There's an app called Dub, and I believe it's called Dub.
mm,
Dub is an app where you can copy trade famous people. They hit me up and said, "We are looking to hire a editor who can do these animations. I want to do a contest in your Discord and some of your peers." So like I brought you up.
mm,
And the prize of whoever made the best video would be that they'd get flown out to New York and become a full-time employee for them. Or you can just take like however much money in cash, which would be
yeah,
insane. So I definitely, I could cook up some kind of competition to see who can get views on these clips. But it's funny because again, practice what you preach. I don't even do any short form for my stuff. I'm getting that started this week. But like
yeah,
the guy
bro.
who's
If
gonna
you're
put
the
something in a
CEO
million
of
short
short
form,
form, and then you don't
I
have any
know,
short
dude.
form for
'Cause
yourself.
again, I'm trying to get out of that thing where I just do it
Mm,
for clients and not myself. So I'm
mhm,
trying to get out of that.
yeah.
But
Well, I
yeah,
find podcasting is one of like the most, in terms of like if you're trying to make videos to, ultimately lead to a better personal brand or pitch a service at some point. Like podcast
yep,
clips are like one of the most efficient ways to get there. Because this
100%.
conversation, like I had a conversation with my friend. We did like a 1 hour podcast. Now, granted, I did tell him some questions and topics that he should ask me so I could get
Yep,
some content out of it. But literally we sat down 1 hour. I got 50 clips out of it.
yep.
Like it was absurd. So those are
Clip
going out
farming.
soon. But yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Like we could clip farm this podcast itself. But
100%. Yeah.
presumably I guess with clients you take on people who are more like continuous rather
Yes.
than you don't really do one-time jobs for people cuz that's not really a
No,
scalable
people hit me up all the
opportunity.
time, and it's not worth it. From like an editor perspective, like hire an editor for a month and then part ways. I like to cultivate like a really great team.
Right.
And yeah, we only do if somebody, we've honestly implemented recently a 3 month minimum commitment. So you got to commit to us for three
Okay.
months,
Okay,
and
cool.
that's it. Yeah.
So let's get into that now. So we've covered kind of how you went from zero to scaling the team, the expenses behind that. Now, how do you structure how much you make? And I'm a little curious actually about a couple things. First of all, I know ad revenue is a big source for you. Copyright, I know people were struggling with that in the TikTok creativity fund days. It seems like
Mhm.
you're getting around that, so I'm curious how.
Dude,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
two, how you ended up at 10 posts per day, finding that was optimal. I'm curious about that as well.
yeah,
So walk me through
yeah,
how much money this actually makes and like a
yeah,
typical structure you have with a client.
100%.
And then we can get into copyright and optimizing the amount of daily posts.
Course. Let me pull up my Stripe real quick. I'll screen share that, show you guys kind of what the month is looking like. We have about 50% on Stripe, 50% on Bankwire. We have a lot of clients who prefer bank wire. And honestly, I've been preferring it recently because there's not as many fees. But I'll refresh as well.
Oh,
So we did six.
$0. He's lying, guys. No.
Yeah, I'm lying. I'm capping. So we did 6,000 yesterday. Net volume this month is 22,815. So we'll probably do about four. And this is excluding a weekly package. We just upgraded by over like $2,000 a month.
So
So
this is
this
the
will probably
direct
end at
revenue that
50K.
this is what they pay you specifically. This is
Correct.
excluding all the ad
This
revenue
is
that you make from all your
excluding
different
ad revenue and excluding about $30,000 a month worth of clients who prefer to wire us. So
Mhm.
this alone, I mean, we're halfway through the month, but just based on previous numbers, this will probably end at 50 on Stripe, and then we'll probably do another 30 to 50 in Wire this month, including ad revenue. So anything I say in Wire also means ad revenue. Like just today. Let me screen share this as well. TikTok was super late on payments. I don't know if you had experienced that with YouTube, but because of the ban, so I'll show you this. I just shared this in my Discord. This was our payment this morning from two fan pages. We got 3,700 from one, 2,800 from the other. This was for a Sarah Safari account and a QCP account. I can disclose, and then I will show, which not many people would ever want to show this, but fuck it. I'm going to show all my
That's what we
income.
do. That's what we do on the Money on My
Yeah.
Mind podcast.
All my income goes through an S-Corp, which I advise everybody to do. So I
We'll
don't
get
get
into
paid
that as
directly.
well.
Yeah, I don't get paid directly. I get paid to my LLC, which has an S-Corp classification. And then I spend basically everything I do as a business expense. I am working all the time. I'm filming all the time. I have people who work out of my house and I have an office. So I order food, everybody eats. I order a camera for my new setup. That's a write-off. So I run a lot of my expenses through my LLC, and I will screen share my profit and loss for this month. So anything that you see here,
And
it's
this
going to
is
say.
your personal after
So
expenses for the
I
business.
wanted to clarify this. It is going to say $752,000 in revenue. Now, revenue is really income for me. It's just that we manage it as a business. So, like, Only Media itself, which is my S Corp, does not have any assets or anything. It's purely receives money, pays me out, and then I keep money in there left over. So any expenses that I have, like my computer setups, my monthly expenses, my cold plunge, my sauna, that all goes on the LLC card.
So you buy
So
that through your corporation so that you can deduct it from your
exactly. And
taxes.
it's
And
not
now,
always deductible. That's what I do want to say. Not all of this stuff is, it's sometimes only partially deductible, but I'll share this. So this was directly from my account. It's literally in an email. Only Media profit and loss for January through December of 2024. Total income was $764,000 last year. As you can see here, all the expenses, like my car payment is here, bank service charges, donations, dues and subscriptions, so like Netflix, Hulu,
damn,
insurance.
for
Yeah.
$6,000, bro, are you on your sub to someone's OnlyFans or something? What's going on with $6,000 in subscriptions, bro?
Dude, Notion. I got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Legal and professional fees. And so lawyers are obviously very expensive.
Oh
30,
yeah. Okay, I'm curious about that as
yeah,
well.
$38,000 worth of meals. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Your Uber, is that for you and the team?
it's for me, the team. It's we'll go to Poppy Steak with a client in Miami, drop like $5,000 on a meal. There's a lot of random bad stuff
Yeah.
in there.
And
Um,
that is intentional to show
oh
to your
yeah,
client like
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
balling, you're a good, you're a
100% of the
solid, like,
clients that
yeah.
we take to Poppy Steak.
Uh-huh.
Then
Yeah.
18,000 in like repairs and maintenance for my house because my house is an office. So like the place I'm in right now is the office in my house. So Only
Mhm.
Media pays rent to my house, which pays down my mortgage, to give me this office space, which is a write-off. So travel 31. So basically I spent about 218,000. My net operating income personally was 546,000. And then we had some other expenses where it says ask my client. That basically means that my bookkeeper doesn't know how to classify them yet. So before taxes are due this year, I have to go in and reclassify these. So all
Mhm.
in all, what I'm going to be paying tax on is 444,000. That's basically the money I had left over sitting in my bank account that I couldn't figure out what to do with. So,
Right. And
which
so
I
in an
buy real
ideal
estate, I buy
world, you would
properties,
be
and
able
I
to
still number that's zero.
Right, okay. In an ideal world, you would be able to reinvest all of that money, but there's nowhere for that money to go yet. So now you're
Correct.
like,
Like
all right,
I like
well,
to
it's
put
in my
some in
bank account.
stocks. So a lot of that is in stocks. I'll show you guys real quick. I have a few investment accounts that I run. I own 12 rental properties in Ohio and St. Louis.
Oh, so you're
And
just doing real estate on the side too as
correct.
well.
And I buy those all cash. So I got a lot of money parked in there. And then I'm literally going to log in real quick to, I just recently had a financial advisor. And so some of that money went into funding an investment account. We've got $250,000 in there. So it's
Oh, that's
241K
awesome. Yeah.
in there. So, and literally it just started.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. And that's just in like an index fund, just
So yeah, it's actually
slowly
in, let me
piling on money over time.
Yeah. So it's in 2023 it was only 26. Yeah, 2024 and 2025 is when it got up to 240. And
Mhm.
in this, I have my investment accounts, which some are in cash and some are in. So like in the last 30 days, it's just the investment side is up 10 grand. So just like an extra
Yeah.
10 grand in a month just off
Yeah. Just
like
from capital gains. Yeah.
exactly. So everything stacks up over time. And that's why like I had a guy in my Discord ask me, and I'm sure you get this all the time. It's like, well, I don't want to waste my time on this. Like I want to be able to make millions. I want to be able to retire. I want to, dude, you make and you make 30 grand a month and you do that for 5 years and you invest your money properly, your life becomes like 80% fucking easier. Like it
Yeah.
becomes so much easier because like there's nothing else you need to do anymore because at least you have this cushion. Um
100%.
and you move different. Like I move different now that I know that like my rental properties can pay my bills. You know, that's like a
100%.
huge thing for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little bit on the income side and kind
Yeah.
of where my money is, what I do.
Yeah, I want to get into that more later, but I like there's so many people I'll talk to and they're so focused on making money and then they neglect what to do with money that they've made. So
That was
keeping
me.
money is the other half the game, and when like people will make a lot of money but then lifestyle inflation just hits them super hard, at the
Yep.
end of the day they have zero left and it's like, bro, like now where's your security, like anything like that.
Yep.
I don't know. Do you know Scott Galloway?
No, I do not.
So he's like, I guess, I don't know, just a public figure, I guess, who's somewhat popular in like the investing niche,
Oh,
finance
yeah,
niche.
yeah, I'm
He's like an
familiar.
NYU business professor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his rule of thumb is basically you need to know how much it costs for you to comfortably live. So that number, you figure out your number. It's different for everyone else, but for any random person, it might be like $5,000 a month. They can live comfortably, and then the goal, the ultimate, not ultimate, but like the biggest milestone in terms of financial independence is hitting a number where your passive income out earns your burn. So if you
Yep.
burn $5,000 a month, you need to be making $5,000 a month or more passively. And that can be done by having 25x whatever that number is in stocks and then just chilling off of the amount of dividends that makes a year. So if you can
100%.
comfortably drag 4% out, you'll basically be able to live forever, complete security, and everything after that is just pure gravy.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. And one thing that I did is the reason why I don't have much money in my portfolio and I don't have much cash. I've never carried much cash is because my goal has always been 20K a month. That's my number. That is my number where if I make that passively every month, I don't have to worry about anything for the rest of my life because that number is obviously going to grow depending on if it's real estate or
yeah,
whatever.
but
For
you
me, it
can
was real estate.
always live off that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and obviously, I mean, I have an expensive life. Like, I have a cold plunge and a sauna in my backyard. I've got a pool. I've got a nice
I'm
house.
jealous. I'm
Like,
jealous.
I've got the creature comforts. I've got my GT3 fucking is expensive as hell. I got a
Mhm.
truck that's expensive. Like, my lifestyle inflation definitely hit hard. And so I need a little bit more to live comfortably every month. But that 20K number for me is basically I have these rental properties I buy. I'm all in them for about $145,000, right? And I'll just buy them cash. I'll just like, all right, I want that one, buy it cash. I'll buy them for 72. I'll remodel them, put 145K in, and they rent for like $2,400 a month. So I'll make probably 2K in profit per every single one of those that I buy, right? I'm buying about 2 a year. So I
Mhm.
only need 10 of those to retire.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
got
That's
I've got
yeah.
12, but
Yeah.
not all of them make that much money.
Right.
But once I hit 20 or 30 of these rental properties, then I'm done. And I'll probably hit like this year. I'm about to buy another one here probably in 2 or 3 months. I'm gonna probably in a month. Never mind, 3 months. I gotta wait for taxes because my tax bill is gonna be fucking disgusting. So after taxes is when I'll start looking into that again. But yeah, I'm going to buy 2 this year, probably 3 that are all cash. And then if at any point I need the money or I want another deal, you can refinance these too. So leveraging debt and just financial literacy is important.
Right.
But one thing that like I always would get scared by these conversations when I started making money because it sounds very complicated and I want everybody to know that when I started making money when I was 19, 20, 21, I spent every dollar. And then taxes came around. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I had to go into like not going to debt, but almost went into debt.
Yeah.
And I went back to zero. And then I spent money like an idiot, literally until a year ago. Like
Mhm.
it took me 3 years to figure out, like look around and like, where'd the money go?
Yeah, wait,
Like
yeah.
I've
How
been
am I
killing it for a
making this
while.
much
Where
money
the
and then
fuck
I
did
don't
it
have any
go?
left at the end
No,
of the
yeah,
day?
like
Yeah. Like,
what happened? Where is it? Like, so again, that's one of those things. And I've had so many investments go wrong. I've lost probably $1 million in cash on bad investments in my life, like buying
mhm.
Instagram accounts, all this stuff. And you just got to keep going and move on. I was holding a crypto coin the other day, and I went from 10K to up $400,000. And I looked at it and I go, nah, I'm good. It's worth $0 now. Like, and I was just like, but you can't beat yourself up over these kind of things,
Yeah.
right? It was Trump coin, by the way. You
Yeah.
can't beat yourself
Your
up over,
financial investor is cringing so
bro.
hard listening to that.
Oh my god, dude. Let me show you some of these texts I have.
Did he
I'm
text
sure
you?
people are like, I'm
I
sure
mean,
people are like, yeah, right, bro. Oh yeah, I'm sure you were up. How's the crypto project moving? Plus 350K. He goes, wonderful. I keep going, going. And then January 28th, I go, let's just say I should have sold at 400K. And he goes, ha ha ha. And then he goes, damn, what's done is done. Let's get after it. So he's
yeah.
like, he's trying to get me to sell. He was like, dude, just
Yeah.
sell.
Well, that
But
is a more chill financial advisor than I
oh,
would
he's
I
sick.
would I
He's
would
sick.
be as a financial
No,
advisor, but
he's awesome. But I like you said that number. My number is, if I keep making 700 plus every
mhm.
year, I'll be retired at 30. I'll be done making 20K a month.
Yeah.
So
But can
that's
I
the
ask a
goal.
cheeky question?
Of course.
When you can retire, are you gonna stop?
Fuck no.
Exactly. Yeah.
Never stop, dude.
That's so awesome.
But,
Yeah.
but
It's
you just move different. You go
yeah,
to the
and
gym,
see,
somebody pisses you off, you just ignore them. You're like,
yeah.
you're not even worth my time.
This is what I feel. So I feel like people who aren't entrepreneurs think like entrepreneurs, oh, you've already made this money. Why are you being so greedy and trying to make more for yourself? Bro, because we fucking love
It's our
playing this stupid
passion.
game. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's
If we're
not
playing
it's not to
Monopoly,
be a greedy. It's like, and I feel bad because they don't understand that it's not greed. It's just stupid hyper obsession with like something like, well, it doesn't really matter. Well, nothing really matters, bro. Like this is what I fucking enjoy. So
100%. Yeah,
you can't be
nothing.
mad at
Yeah,
someone just
nothing
doing that.
matters.
So yeah, no,
And a great
I'm the
quote,
same way. It's not gonna matter how much money I'm making. I'm not gonna stop thinking, how can I grow this?
100%. And one of the things that I find interesting when I was in college, I wanted to drop out so bad. I ended up being able to with the Mark Cuban stuff, which we can get into, but
Mhm.
and my mom wouldn't let me drop out, and I was making like 10 or 15 grand a month. And I called my uncle, who I look up to a lot. And I didn't have a father figure growing up, so it was my uncle. And so I call him, I'm like, dude, all these people here are so pumped. Like I had my roommate tell me, I'm so excited, dude. I'm gonna be able to make 55 grand a year out of college as an accountant. I'm like, what the fuck, dog? Like, why are you excited about that? That's horrible. Like what? And he's like, dude, it's great for me. I'm like, it would be great for anybody, but why do you want that? Like, what the fuck are you thinking? And I called my uncle. I'm like, dude, I know I sound out of touch and I know I sound like an arrogant dickwad and whatever, but how could you want that for yourself? He goes, Nathan, you have to realize that the reason people like you exist is because people like that exist. The reason people like you who don't want to learn accounting and don't want to do all this shit is so that people like you can hire them to do it. That's what. So be
100%.
grateful that I would literally tell him I'm going to a school filled with penguins who are learning how to swim and I can fucking fly already. Like I don't even
Yeah.
need to learn how to swim because I'm flying and you guys don't even that's not even on y'all's radar. You guys everybody's walking around saying penguins can't fly. Our bodies are too big for our wing. I'm fucking in the air already. Like it was the stupidest analogy. It was the only way I could make it make sense. And my mom makes fun of me for that all the time. She's like, "Oh, you were always a flying penguin, huh?" I'm like, God dang it.
Yeah.
But it's true. We see things differently, and people watching this probably agree. It's like there's something in our brains that won't shut off at night when we try and go to bed and we think of new ideas. And it's at the gym, and you randomly think of something. You record that audio message, and you execute. And yeah, I'm 100% agreeing. I'll never stop, but definitely was interesting seeing that in college. That people just don't get it. They don't
Yeah,
get it
I
like
know. Well, it's a hilarious realization I had too, because none of my friends from high school, no one I was even really around in college, cared at all about entrepreneurship. And
that.
when I started, obviously every entrepreneur goes through their, questioning zone where they're like, wait, how is everyone just okay with like, wait, you're telling me this dude is affording like 10 cars and
Yeah,
you saving every single day for 10 years wouldn't be able to afford that. When you go through that and you're like, okay, something's up. How?
yeah,
How are they doing it?
yeah,
That's and like no one else around me cared. Like I would bring
yeah,
this up to my parents, like they wouldn't really like. I'd be like, "How are they doing that?" And they're like, I don't really know. Maybe born rich. I don't know." Like they just didn't care the answer to that question.
yeah,
I agree with you. I'm like a super curious type, always asking. And like when I realized that discrepancy, I was like, no, how is that happening? Like how is that possible? And so
yeah,
that's what started this journey. And I think both me and you are on the same wavelength there. It's like I just want to keep figuring out how people do this. It's like just a
yeah.
natural curiosity, and figuring out how to do it myself. Like that's where we're at. It's not about okay, I can stop once I hit blah 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 per month. No, it's just like I want to keep figuring out how to go bigger and bigger and bigger.
100%.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, so I wanted to. I think soon we'll get into some more fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I wanted to finish out on, just the rest of Clipper and exactly how your income is made and like what the sources are. So I understand you have um, ad revenue and you have direct payment. So how does that usually work? How do you normally come
Yeah.
to a number on how much they pay you per month from like the
Yeah.
actual person, you getting them more viral?
Yeah.
And
So
then yeah, start with
so
that.
if
Yeah.
if you want me to be real, in the beginning, I was pulling these numbers out of my ass. I had
Hmm.
no idea what I was doing. I was just pricing things arbitrarily. So I started at like, hey, 2 posts a day is $2,000 a month. Or sorry, $1,500 a month. Then it went to $2,000 once I got some more clients. And then slowly I started to realize, like, dude, having a business is expensive. Like an office, all these things, and I needed my margin to go up. So I'm thinking to myself, like, we're not an editing company. We are like a strategy consultant that also just video edits on the side. And
Side
once I did that, I
service.
was
Yeah.
like our prices should be way higher. So now they're
Mhm.
like 3, 4, 5 grand, but I'm pricing in things like, hey, it's $1,000 a month to even get me on the phone once a week. That's
Mhm.
the price. Take it or leave it. Everybody's like, yeah, dude, 100%. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
and I just never would offer that in the beginning. And now people just do it. And that's more on like, when you start selling to businesses. But clipper's revenue is majorly short form clipping. Tiny
Mhm.
bit. So 70% clips, 30% fan accounts, in terms of like overall revenue.
Oh,
Or
I
I
see.
would say
So 70% clips for their main channels.
main channels and that's just our monthly retainer. That's a better way to say it.
Oh, okay, okay.
70% is our monthly retainer.
Okay,
Then
okay. And then
30%
is
are
ad
the
revenue.
ad revenue, incentives, that kind of stuff
Okay,
that we
okay.
get. So that's how it's structured.
Okay. And can
Like
I ask, are they mainly fan pages or how many of the pages are
it's
actual
honestly like
pages?
50-50.
Okay,
We have
wow.
a lot
So
of
yeah, that's
clients.
cool because I know George. I actually watch a bunch of George Janko's clips, so that's
Yeah.
hilarious that that's
Yeah,
you behind it.
George is awesome. Yeah, from zero until now, we've been
Yeah.
and I've met him a bunch of times, and we actually he actually removed us as his editing team for a while, and went and tried to do AI and tried a bunch of different clipping agencies, and they all sucked, and he came back.
He came
So
back. Yeah, that's
after
awesome.
3 years,
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna go over how those videos are clipped after, but
yeah.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, as for what we're trying to do to, I guess, get that number up to the hundreds of thousands of dollars a month is continue to make fan accounts. So over hire so that we're running these fan accounts, more and more. And the unique advantage here is YouTube Shorts is a lot more strict that I found on monetization than TikTok on these
Do you get hit
influencer
with
accounts. So
content reuse a lot?
So QCP is a great example of we didn't even get hit with content reuse. We just got hit with impersonation on YouTube and we got
Oh
disabled.
wow.
So because, and again, this is one of our unique advantages, because he is our client, and I'm going to screen share this for you real quick.
Mhm.
Because he is our client, I could make this clips page. Let me go switch
Oh, there I
account.
am.
Where? Oh yeah, look, you're right here. I could go make not Sarah. Fuck. Here we go. QCP. Ooh, that's a nice outlier. Hold on. The
Yeah,
entrepreneur
the
in me is.
YouTube, the viral mind is always
Oh
going like,
no, we missed the outlier because I
oh
switched
no.
pages. There's an outlier there. There's a stripe screenshot. Okay, so you go on this page. Oh, there I am. This video flopped, by the way. View channel, manage videos. So his account on Shorts doesn't make as much. TikTok pays for him, but 115K subs. If we go into analytics, I'll show you the earnings. Only $1,200 in like the last month, $1,300 here in the last month. However, they disabled us midway through. Now, the reason we're monetized again is
Oh my
because
god, that's when I already see the thumbnail. That's hilarious. Oh my god. That's so, and that just instantly worked, right?
literally a day ago or a day later, we were back.
Yeah, that is so overpowered. Yeah.
So it's like, now what happens if this client cancels, Nate? Well,
Anyone listening, by the way, who's not watching, he
yeah,
just when his account got flagged for impersonating QCP, he literally just got QCP to upload the appeal video for
just
him
make a video and make
with
it
him
appeal.
saying, "No, this
Yeah.
is okay. Like I told them to do this.
Yeah.
Or this is
So
actually funded by me or whatever."
now what happens if that client cancels the package? They're not going to go hit up YouTube and say, yo, take that fucking. They're just going to let us run. And now we have forever monetization there
Yeah.
because they know that we're promoting him. So
Yeah.
it's a cheat code, man. You got to,
Yeah.
it's building
And I
these
assume
assets up.
with YouTube Shorts, you have music royalties running on those as well.
Believe it or not, I did not. And I saw your video and I was like, because we used to get paid to put music on like independently. I didn't know
Uh-huh.
there were these websites that were allowing it. It just goes to show how much you can learn, even in my position, from videos like yours. And I was like, dude, no way. Like, I didn't realize there was that much money. So
Yeah.
we haven't even tapped into that yet. That's like
Bro.
not
But
even a
what are
thing
your
yet.
current RPMs on YouTube?
On YouTube, it's pretty dog shit. I mean, we'll like maybe make $1,000 on like 5 million views on QCP.
So like
Let me actually
20 cent
yeah,
RPM. That's you realize you'll be making like an extra
like
15
probably
to
an
20
extra
cent RPM from
and I
music
just
royalties.
and I saw your video about that and I wanted to make a video like I have a video that I want to film
How
where
many
it's
million views do you get per month across all your YouTube channels, bro?
oh
Because you
geez.
realize there's no music on your shorts currently,
Probably
right?
no music, 500 million probably a month.
Bro. Bro, let me right after this F podcast, I'm gonna fucking get you set up with this
Yeah,
music
dude.
company.
Is I like oh let me
Do
calculate.
you have any songs on it right now?
No.
Okay,
No
so
music.
what you can
Well,
do, they have a huge
okay,
library
I
where
will
you can.
say we do have sound effects that are on it, but I
That's
would
fine,
much
yeah.
rather be paid to put their music in the background instead of the music that we're
No,
using
well,
right now.
yeah. So if you watch my video on it, you actually don't. The music doesn't even really need to be audible, because
Yeah,
if
you
you're not
just
actually promoting a song, your uh YouTube is paying that musician for getting views, and the company is splitting that with you essentially.
got it. Yeah,
But
like just that account I just showed you has done 11 million views in the last 28 days, which
yeah,
is
that's
not
insane. Yeah,
that's
so
not a good
that's
month
fine.
at
What
all.
you can do basically is just take their, even if you don't want to find a song that actually matches what's happening, the emotion of what's happening in the video,
Yeah,
you can take, and I do this on my personal channel actually. You can take their quietest song. It's called like Majestic Dawn. Turn the volume down to 16%. It's basically you can't even hear it, and then you can just post it with that, and it still will qualify for the music.
yeah. So like,
So
imagine this business. Imagine I start putting music on every single client whose YouTube is paying us, TikTok is paying us, and the royalty people
yeah,
are paying us, and the clients paying us.
bro,
So,
yeah. I hope you realize like that's literally an extra 25K a month unlock by adding the
well,
music, bro.
I know, and we're
I'm
gonna do
pretty
it. And
huge.
guess what? It was only because, man, you got to charge for this stuff. You got to charge these
Hey,
videos.
I make commission, don't worry. Um, yeah, okay, that's fire. Okay, I'll put you onto it after that because
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
curious
Please
about that,
do.
and I was like, "There's no way he doesn't." Good to know that you don't already
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Please, yeah. Please do.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I think that cover. Oh yeah, okay. So then with TikTok, I thought TikTok was more strict with copyright in terms of like making a fan page for someone. Are you able to
Yeah,
just get away with it every time? Have you had problems with that?
literally never had an issue. I think
Okay.
we appeal every video that we get taken down. So let me pull
Uh-huh.
up a page on my
And
phone.
you normally win those appeals?
Almost always we win the appeals, and the
Mm.
reason we win them is because our content always falls under the transformative side of content. So like we are
Yeah, even though that's I feel like that's a little debatable when it comes to just
it
clipping
is
streamers.
very debatable. But like just an example of a
Uh-huh.
clip that we did on Sarah's account,
Uh-huh.
that if you actually watch like the raw video of this, it does make a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But like on Sarah's account, let me go look at if we've had any
Do
like
you have a
last
list
7.
of all the accounts you own, by the way? I think that would also be
Oh
cool for.
god. I could cook something up. I could
Yeah, I
try.
think that
Oh,
would
it'd
be
have to
cool
be a
to put in the
Serena.
description of this video for someone to just, or like maybe even a spreadsheet of just all the accounts so people can go,
Yeah.
"Holy fuck, yep, I've seen that one, I've seen that one, I've seen that one. Fuck.
Let me
This guy's behind it all and he's making so much money from it. Like, what the fuck?"
add that to my to-dos. When would this episode come out?
Probably in like a week or two actually
Okay,
since
okay, that's perfect. That's
yeah,
perfect.
I'm a
Because I was
little
gonna say
backed up because
I have to
we
wait for Serena to come back because that's gonna take a long time.
yeah,
Get
you are my
all
fourth episode and I haven't even posted the first one yet. So
sick. No, no, that's sick. Let me get 4. Okay, added that
this
to
is
my to-dos.
entrepreneurship done live, by the way, guys.
Yeah,
Happening
no, I
with
just added that to my
doing your
Notion
ads
real
for it.
quick.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure it's on my
Yeah.
to-dos. But yeah, no, I'll list. That'll be the first time that I've ever listed out all of my, because I've never just needed to. But I'll go get all the accounts that we've done, and I'll list them up all platforms.
Yeah. Do you have a way to like collect all the data in one spot of all your views? Because I think I have something for you for that as well. There's
If
something
you
called
okay, I
There's
need
an
that.
app called Databox, and it
Okay.
lets you drag in. It lets you sign in to any like TikTok, Instagram, or anything,
Oh yeah,
and you can sign into multiple, and then it will take the views. You could choose any metrics you want to track. But yeah,
sick.
Bro, now
Yeah,
you got me writing on my to do list, bro.
dude, I know. There you go.
Um,
Yeah, send me over data box, whatever, and
yeah, data, music
that'd
royalties,
be
yeah,
cool to put in to actually, because I've always just looked at numbers and
because
just
that once you show that
estimated.
to a client, the evidence becomes so overwhelming and so easy to present that it's like so worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're totally chilling in terms of so anyone who wants to do a clipping channel, they can take clips from creators as long as they add captions and
Yeah.
everything. They
Yeah,
should
we
be
haven't
good
had
and you're not.
issues. I know people have problems with it for whatever reason. We just don't. Like,
Mm,
it's probably because we're not using AI and the videos are, really just high quality.
yeah.
Um, they're not spammy. So maybe that's why. I mean, not to say that we don't have issues. Like, I could go and and look at some of these videos that maybe got disqualified from rewards per post. Like in the last few days, and we've only had one that got disqualified. And it said you'll be removing the program if you 5 times in the past 30 days, originality violation. So I'm going to go in right now and appeal it. And my description on this is going to be, this is completely original content and completely original content, original and transformative. Use their words against them. Transformative content of which we also have direct approval from the influencer. So even if you guys don't, by the way, if you're clipping for like Aiden Ross, Kai Sanat, whatever, these people have openly said, please go clip for me.
Yeah. So yeah, you do have approval.
Hey, this isn't
from
a lie
obviously.
for you guys. Yeah,
public
you do
approval.
public. You have public
Imagine
approval.
you even drop the YouTube link of him saying that in the
Yeah, literally. But most of the time, they'll. A lot of people are just afraid to hit the appeal button. But like on this one right here, we got appeal rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So
but that
when
happens.
it happens to everybody.
Post.
Yeah. So like what we don't like,
you can get up to 5 rejections a month, right?
5 rejections a month, and we've had in December we had 1. In January we had 2. No, in January we had 3, and this month we've had none so far. So definitely is something that you guys want to like be careful of and look out for.
Yeah.
But if you are making good enough content, you really won't have to deal with those. But again, if you're at 4, stop posting. Please stop posting and just wait it out. Now somebody like QCP, another one of our clients, who's on the creator program, he has never had an unoriginality strike.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous.
All your videos for TikTok are over 1 minute then? Or do you still post some under 1 minute?
Just we will post some under 1 minute if it's a great moment. And my business partner, who I bought him out, he still owns 15%. He gets on me all the time. He's like, dude, make sure they're only posting 1 minute, only 1 minute or longer. And I'm telling him, I'm like, I get it, but like some of these clips, you just don't want to extend over. We prioritize client success over like fattening our pockets.
Yeah.
So if a clip is going to go viral, you don't have to get it to a minute. Just focus on making good content. But if it's like 48 seconds, you can get it there.
Yeah, I see. And then what about with YouTube? So I know, do you post over 1 minute videos on there now too, since they allow 3-minute shorts, or do you?
And we do. We do.
Initially, what were you doing? Were you posting 1 minute videos
initially on shorts,
59-second on shorts and just cutting it off?
Correct. Initially we would go over a minute on TikTok, and then we would go under 60 on YouTube with the same clip. So we would always just try and make it end heavy so we can just cut the ending out. But that only really lasted because creator program for us was kind of a new addition that only really lasted until probably 5 months ago, whenever they started allowing, I think it was November, they allowed longer shorts, like to 90 seconds. And then now we don't have any issue on any platform. Now everybody is long.
Yeah. Our thing is the music royalties are still only work with 1 minute shorts or under. So that's where,
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, because we have some videos we post that are under a minute. So any video that's under a minute, I can just tell my team,
add it on,
throw up a music royalty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the thing has to do somehow with like the way that YouTube's music claiming system works. And if it's over a minute, it's like
it'll go into their copyright claim system. It
works
probably
the same way that long form works if you use someone else's song. So at that point, they can just claim all the revenue from that video.
Yeah, and that sucks.
And you don't want that to happen.
Definitely not.
But if it's under a minute, their revenue split with musicians is like how I said before.
100%.
Okay, so that's really cool. I was gonna say, I know you post on each of the different platforms manually. One thing we do, so we don't use Hootsuite, but to make it easier on ourselves, we use something called repurpose.io.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you don't want to get into that because it's like manual, or because your clients are skeptical that might.
For
platform as
fan
well.
accounts, I think it would work. My always
Mhm.
question with repurpose, I should have looked into this, but I've just been too busy, transparently, of just like to even look at anything like that. Is when they're reposting, is there a watermark or anything that's coming along with
No.
it?
No watermark. No. And I've grown all of my channels that I've grown have grown organically. I used to only post on TikTok actually.
Got it.
My initial Money Mind channel was me making TikToks in my room about money. And that channel has like a 6 million view short on YouTube. Has some
Wow.
viral Instagram reels.
Damn.
Fly Juggler as well. That channel is now at like 100K on YouTube almost. And again, like multi tens of millions of views, all stemming from repurpose.io's posts. So I haven't
Wow.
seen an issue with it.
Wow. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely something for us to, we could use that would come in really handy when it comes to all of our fan accounts.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
So,
And but
yeah.
that's when you do need to start writing out all the channels that you own and be making sure you're on top of like the posts
Yeah,
going there. Because
that's when
every
it gets
once in a
a little
while the
crazy.
thing will get disconnected and you just have to reconnect it. But if you're not aware of it, the Instagram account might just die without you focusing on it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's good to know. Yeah. No, dude,
Yeah.
you're, I mean, I've heard of it too. I just like, I needed to talk to somebody else in the industry, and there's not many people who are in this industry. So it's very helpful to talk to you about this stuff and hear that it works for you. Cause I was always scared that I was going to try repurpose or one of these platforms and then it was going to kill the views, you know?
Mhm. Mm, makes sense. Yeah, no, it's been fine for me, like for the most
Cool.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to touch on, like logistically for Clipper. That's a
Yeah.
incredible journey and such a hilarious thing that, like,
Yeah.
again, I'm sure so many people watching are going to be like, "Fuck, this is the guy behind all these damn channels that I end up seeing online."
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Um,
But that's awesome because it's going to make you realize one of the things that I used to do when I was younger is I would drive through the richest neighborhoods and
mhm.
I'd be like, dude, all these people do it. And they like it's that easy, like it's right in front of your face. And so you're gonna
Yeah.
be scrolling, seeing these videos, not realizing it's me or my company. And then now you're gonna next time you see him, you're like, motherfucker, he's making
Yeah,
money like that.
yeah.
What am I doing watching it? I'm giving him money by watching it. Like I need to go
Yeah,
do this
exactly,
myself.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna ask actually though, on Facebook, this is a platform I'm not super well acquainted with. Have you been
Uh-huh.
making good revenue or good views from that? And
It's probably some people say it's the best in monetization. It used to be
Mhm.
for us. Within the last probably 12 months, we don't even have we don't even create Facebook pages for clients anymore.
Okay.
We have such a young audience that
That
none of
yeah.
our nobody's on Facebook. None
No
of our
one's
people
watching
are on
Sarah
Facebook.
Safari on
Yeah,
Facebook.
Sarah
Yeah.
Safari on Facebook is like no.
Yeah.
Amalfi Jets does Facebook, and we're working
That
on
makes
getting them
sense.
monetized there. Now, here's what's crazy: Amalfi Jets TikTok is not monetized in the creator program.
Mhm.
They have gotten 600 million views in the last 60 days. So
Why are they not monetized?
we missed out. So their marketing person had this weird thing where she didn't believe in that. She thought it was going to kill the page, whatever.
Oh my
I've,
yeah.
yeah, we lost out on probably 600 grand.
That's oh my god. Bro, when people's superstitions are like get in the way, that's so annoying.
So now, just now, finally, we monetized the sub accounts we have for them, and views
Mhm.
are the same. Monetization is fucking killing it, and so hopefully soon we'll be able to monetize the actual Amalfi Jet socials, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to share that number, but I mean, people can infer based on 600 million
Million
views,
views,
and
like
it's all original content.
yeah,
So
what is your RPM around on TikTok? Because
we
our
get
experience was that once we had an account that would start pumping, the RPM would just drop like crazy.
we do experience that right now on original content, like people who we run their actual pages. RPM is anywhere from 60 cents to 80 cents. We even have some that are a dollar almost. It's pretty wild.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. But that's like high value business content. For Sarah Safari QCP, it's like $200 to $300 per million views, so like 20, 30 cents.
Okay, okay. So if it's more original, if it's actually their own account, you
Yes, it does a
TikTok
lot of
can
that.
detect that seemingly and give it a better RPM than if it's like shit
Yeah,
posting,
exactly.
clipping reposts. Okay, that's cool.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. And then, oh yeah, last thing on this. How did you end up at 10 posts a day?
This is
And how many people do you do that for?
a good amount. So, basically what happens, and this is how you scale clients in general, is charge lead. Sorry, I had to literally, that just made me think of something that I had to do. I don't know why. But 10 posts a day, basically started at 2, right? 2 turns into 4 because they're crushing, right? They're performing. 4 turns into 6, but 4 on one page, 2 on another. So the most I would ever advise anybody to post on one page is 4 times a day. That's like the most.
Okay. I thought
So
you were doing 10 on one page, and I was like,
no, so 10
that's
posts a day is, and we're going to have 4 on the main page, and then 2 on a alternate page, 2 on another alternate page, and 2 on another alternate page. So as these businesses scale, or these influencers scale, you can get them into doing vlogs, doing podcasts, doing skits, doing, any type of long form content, so that your package actually is going to grow with them over time.
Mhm. And then you base each of the channels off of that thing. So you have Amalfi Jet podcast, Amalfi Jet phone calls, Amalfi Jet,
Yeah.
and each channel is for that own part. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So that is insane. Thank you for telling me everything about fucking clipr.
Of
Um,
course.
I wanted to get into some more fun things now.
Yeah.
So first of all, yeah, can you tell us like what I talked to a founder who had like a successful exit, and he was just on call. I was on call with him in like a group, and he was just yapping, and he was like, yeah, man, like legal and accounting. Those are like the two. That's what it becomes at like the top when you get there, and it seemed like that echoed true for you as well in terms of your financial advisor and your legal fees. So what role has that played
It's
as you scale?
a it's an incredibly expensive endeavor to own a business. Legal is basically business insurance. It's like a form of business insurance. Signing clients, so that they have to pay for revisions and those kind of things, is very important, because in a business where people can be very nitpicky with their content, it's always good to have something in writing, so that also, like, liability, like
Mhm.
if you're a client and you're telling us to put a video of XYZ B-roll into your content, but that video is copyrighted, and then your video gets taken down for copyright, your channel gets demonetized, and then you try and sue us, that can be a very expensive thing. So or I don't know why I just almost said podcast. Contracts are very important, because that's basically your layer of protection. And when you start making more and more money, the higher the likelihood somebody wants to come after you. So you're making $1 million
Yeah.
a month. There's a high likelihood
Now you make a little mistake
you're
and they're going to be like,
collectible.
"Oh, well, I want my 100K in damages." Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're collectible now. So
Yeah.
that's something that I've had businesses where legal has been very important. And so I get it. Now, accounting is even more important in my eyes, because not just accounting, it's bookkeeping. It's just having your expenses organized and making sure that you have somebody strategizing with you on paying as little taxes as possible, but also making sure that you are still paying the amount that you should. I'm not saying to go out there and write everything off and be super aggressive with your
Yeah.
taxes. Like, I still
But
pay 6 figures
but
a
be
year.
on the line of necessary and ordinary
My
for
accountant, and I probably
the
shouldn't say
write-off.
this online,
Yeah.
but my accountant tells me, I'm not going to take you to jail, but I'm going to drive you on the outside by where the fence is, so you can like look in and check it out and make sure it's good. But we drive around.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's skirting on the line of acceptable, which is what entrepreneurs do in general. Is we get tattoos. Some of us do, like me. I've
Yeah.
got full arm covered in them, but we get
I'm not tatted up
tattoos.
yet. I got to get on
Yeah,
that.
no, honestly, dude, I sometimes I regret it, but I know that if I didn't have tattoos right now on this arm, then I would book an appointment to do the whole thing again. So I'm happy with them. But they tell a story for me. But
Mhm.
with being an entrepreneur, we always tote that line of what's acceptable in society. Dropping out of college, doing those kind of things. And so for me, that this it all kind of fell into that. Like with my accounting is be legal 100%. Never want to do anything that isn't legal, but we don't want to be hyper conservative. I'm
Yeah.
like I have a weird business. Like everything,
Yeah.
like this podcast right now.
Everything is a gray area right
Yeah,
now.
it's such a great, like, I bought a
Yeah.
webcam to do my YouTube videos. That's a write off. I bought a sauna for outside because I'm stressed from work and I need to relax. And
Mhm.
my house is gonna, then that sauna is going to be used by my employees, so it's kind of an employee benefit. I'm not going to write that whole damn thing off, but I'm going to write 20% of it, because
Yeah.
20% of it was for business use. And if they ever want to come after me and like ask me about those things, I have a bunch of proof that I use it for business
Yeah.
because
As
everything I
long
do
as
is for
you can
business.
justify it, you say,
Exactly.
"This is I
As
can
long as you can
consider this
justify it,
business."
write it off. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I see. And then so I'm also a little curious, what were the benefits of an S-Corp? I I forget exactly how that works.
Yeah,
The difference between an S-Corp and a C-Corp.
yeah. I'm actually, I couldn't tell you. Besides, I know that the reason I did it is because my company is a pass through company,
Mhm.
meaning all revenue that goes through there just passes through. Like that company
Yeah.
doesn't hold any income. It's either the money goes out for investments or it stays there until for living expenses or until I invest it into something. So it just like goes in and goes out basically. So that's the
Yeah.
reason I did it. A lot of people do it for asset protection. I also do it because my companies will take distributions. So it's easier to take those distributions to my S corp and then have my S corp pay me a salary. So like
Right.
that company that you see pays me like $5,000 to $10,000 a month every
Yeah.
month. So I think this month or this year I'll be at 100K a year salary personally, and then the rest is just kind of, and that's how clipr
Right.
structured as well. Clipper pays my S corp that then pays me, but clipper also is going to have me personally on a salary as well. So there's just,
Mhm.
again, that
That
accounting
was
process is
yeah.
very important.
Right. So my understanding of an S corp is that you basically get to in a C corp you can't pay yourself as an employee, but in an S
Correct.
corp you can. And in
You can.
certain under a certain marginal tax rate, like so under a certain amount that you make per year, the tax rate of you as an employee is actually lower than the business or corporate tax that
Correct.
you would have to pay.
Yeah, and there's
So
something
it's
too with that with
yeah,
self-employment taxes as well.
yeah. So
Like
it's
the money that
smarter
you
to
save
pay
paying
the
yourself
tax
a salary
on
is
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Got that. Okay. So now for some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Firstly, I wanted to see if you'll engage with a little game with me. So I want to
Okay.
take a look at some of George Janko's clips since this is
Okay.
some a channel that I actually watch. Oh,
Yeah.
let me share my screen with audio. I want to take a look at it and see like you to walk me through what
Yeah.
decisions are being made on his clips and what's
100%.
making them go viral.
100%.
Um, so I think that would be a little fun thing to do right here.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
Um, George Janko. So let's
Yeah,
see.
we've got
And
some.
honestly, his show. So is this the channel that you run? This one, right?
He posts here. We post shorts on here as well as so anything with the watermark is a clip that we created.
Hmm. And then
Anything
so
without a
this right
watermark,
here was the phase where he went with
this
someone
was the
else.
phase where he went with somebody
They
else.
took a shit, and then you came back and, and
And
started
then
killing
all of
each
a
other
sudden,
again.
guess what? Views started printing again. And then look at
Yeah.
the post for today. See how it has no watermark.
Yeah.
I got into it with them a little bit yesterday on being too nitpicky with the clips,
Hmm.
and then now we're on like a week pause. We're on like a week pause because they want to try other people. But again, uh, I love George, but the numbers speak for themselves. Like, look at
Yeah.
these.
So let's take a look
They'll
at
be
this
back.
clip right here, for example, and let's see what makes it go viral. So, firstly, before I even press the play button,
Yeah.
you put a watermark. Is that something you do on all your content?
Yeah, so most content that we know is going to go hyper viral, we will add a 12% transparency watermark on them,
Hmm.
especially for clients like George who care a lot about everything, all the traffic going directly back into their stuff. And also these clips get bootlegged a lot. So having that watermark there is important for us.
Okay. And that funnels people back to his actual original channel.
Yes. And then right off the rip too, before you even start, the title is basically what the hook of the video is
The last
the
straw.
last straw
Oh,
of
okay.
George leaving Impulsive.
Do you
So
feel like that actually matters that much to the video? I found like literally we've posted a video where we accidentally forgot to, and it just put the date. It was like December 14th,
yeah,
2024. And the video went viral still.
I would say it has a 10% effect, maybe. These are
Oh,
very
wow. Really?
minimal. But I mean,
Yeah.
to me, that's minimal. It's like you get a
Yeah.
million views is 100K difference. It's not that big of a
Yeah. Yeah.
deal, but
And then, okay, then the thing, again, I'll go one more thing that I noticed before it even starts. I noticed there's a text animation. Is that something you always do?
we always do text animations. I
And
think
that
popping
just
up
makes it more like
subtitles.
engaging.
Yeah, I think popping up subtitles on screen with no animation on them is really boring and just annoying. Like I hate
Mhm.
it. So we have specific animations that are unique for each client that we work with.
Okay. And then one more thing I wanted to ask on. I always work with a little template thing. Here, let me pull it up. So, oh wait, yeah, you can see this, right?
Yeah.
This. Yeah, I always work with this little thing. Do you guys
Yeah.
use this?
We don't. We
Mhm.
always put captions basically right below chin line and wherever
Right.
that is
I
in
do
the video.
that. Yeah. I use this as a template, but I always tell them captions below
Yeah.
chin if it
Yeah.
doesn't fit into this framing. But I
100%.
always make sure during zooms eye level is at the same height.
Yep.
Face is normally tried to be center. We make sure to never put anything outside of the zone, and that's
Yep.
how we try to optimize it. Okay,
100%.
now let me start this clip.
Now something unique real quick too
Yeah, yeah,
with
go ahead.
this. The reason it's not centered is if you look in the top right, there's a Celsius can. That is a sponsorship.
Mm,
We have to have that in the frame.
wow. Okay,
So that is a whole nother
and that's
part
so
of this.
subliminal. That's so interesting. That's
The
yeah.
Celsius is right there conveniently in the top right corner. So that's
That's
another
so
thing right off the
interesting.
rip.
Yeah, they gotta improve the lighting here because this little glare is making it so I can't even see it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a bright ass can.
that's a very interesting insight. Okay.
Yeah.
The last straw for me was when Logan came after me for my religion. The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I have a mortgage.
Mm. Okay, so I can already see the hook here, how
Yeah.
intense it is. Tell me
Yeah.
about the B-roll.
Yeah.
The last straw for
So
me was when Logan came after.
that B-roll right here was from
Mhm.
the infamous podcast where Logan basically called out George and implied that George needed therapy and made fun of him for his religion. So
Right.
anybody watching
It's the
this
most
clip,
controversial
uh,
moment.
and the reason we don't pull just a random Logan Paul clip is because B-roll is supposed to be there to portray some kind of emotion or like put some kind of familiarity in the brain of the consumer.
Mhm.
So for the consumer, this is a familiar moment because if you're watching that clip and you care about it, you know what moment that is. Like without even me telling, like this clip was made probably a year ago and 9 months ago, and I knew exactly what that B-roll was from. So
Yeah.
initially, that's why we picked that moment. Is that's what
100%.
resonated
And
the
that's so
best.
much harder. That means you need an editor who knows George Janko,
Yeah, he
knows
knew the pop culture. He had to know the
yeah,
reference behind it because a VA would have just put, or somebody who didn't know
a
George
random yeah.
would just put a random Logan Paul clip up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I'm actually friends with the guy who runs this. He's like 16 or 17 and he runs
Sick.
like a clipping channel for Mr. Beast. And the
Yeah.
B-roll is huge for him. Like that's probably like the longest thing that takes
Well,
like on
like
all of his
that
own
right
clips.
there, he mentioned Mr. Beast, and instead of rolling Mr. Beast like a clip everybody's seen, you're rolling a
Him
video of
playing
him playing
basketball, which
basketball,
is
which
what I
I've never
talked about.
seen that B-roll before.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play basketball, so instantly I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty fucking
Yeah.
cool." Like I
Then
haven't seen
look,
that.
a
And
clip
same
of
thing with
him
that.
younger, yeah. Then a clip of his transformation.
Yeah. It's
Him in
so
the gym, yeah.
it's so incredibly important. Like
Yeah.
this whole clip is basically just B-roll. And
Yeah.
this is also original. This is very
Yeah.
original content.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go back. Let's take another look here.
I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting.
Okay, so I noticed another two things right here. I'm hyper analyzing, but I'm getting into it. So
It's
I noticed
good.
the text is going when you have an interesting word or like an important word, it's going green.
Uh-huh.
I had to
And
start my own show
a
because
big
we're not
zoom in
making
right
money.
here as well.
Big zoom in, big zoom. So anytime there is a moment of focus or emphasis, we want to make the frame a little more intimate. So whenever he's talking about, I have my own show, and then you go something relatable or that hits home, you go, I have a mortgage. Instantly, everybody at home is like, well, I don't have my own podcast. I have my mortgage. And everybody's like, whoa, because I have a mortgage. I have rent. I get it. So that's when it gets like you're basically talking directly to the audience. It's almost as if when you're playing video games and you're not taking the opponent seriously and you kind of lean up in your chair a little bit. You're like, whoa, hold on. Let me focus. It's like, hey, focus. Like, hey, you might have been dozing out a little bit on this clip, but lock in and listen to this part.
Yeah, and I bet if you looked at the retention of this very video, you would see people stayed right when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a document where you keep all of these different tactics that you repeatedly use, like a zoom in at that point?
Yeah.
That you give to every new editor that joins?
We've just started building that out. However, a lot
That's
of the time,
probably huge in terms of scaling, right?
It is. It's huge. And what I can do actually is I'm going to send you, just so we can review this, I'm going to send you, yesterday we had a new editor edit some clips for George. And I want to, damn, actually, never mind, because he did so many different iterations of it that it's not even going to be there. I was going to show you how crazy the difference is from his first clip to 3 hours later is. Because when you really sit there with somebody, you can take them from clips that basically don't make any sense all the way to creating very captivating, B-roll and graphics and all that kind of stuff. So sadly, I don't have the old version of it, but yeah, we can keep reviewing this one.
Okay, sure.
Because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
At the time, we weren't making money.
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show. Let's not forget that for a year and a half, I didn't get paid. Do you know what my final?
Yeah. Another thing I'm instantly noticing is there's no moments of silence at all.
Absolutely zero dead space. Dead space is the killer of clips, and that is one thing that editors don't realize when they start editing stuff. Is like, dude, nobody wants to hear silence. In this video, there's maybe 5 total seconds of silence. And it would only be if George goes, Mike, how do you think that made me feel? And then it cuts to Mike. He's like,
waiting for his
response. Man. Yeah, so that's the only time we would allow for dead space.
Not only was I controlled and pushed around on impulsive, but then Logan's directing my show. That's not okay.
What's that about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. And on top of that, we never got any money from Prime. And we own that show. I go, Logan, I will take half the deal if you want to put it on the table for my show. He says, I won't pay you a dime.
No, rewind like 5 seconds.
And I said,
rewind like 5 seconds, because I want people to notice something here. Pause it right here. The Celsius is still in the top right corner.
Yeah.
This is just speaking of Celsius.
Legally, you're not allowed to have a clip where it's not
right
in frame.
There. Boom. In frame. But
I have another question here.
Yeah, go for it.
Are you given the raw camera angles as well, and you get to choose, or is this just taken from the long form?
This was pulled right from the long form.
Okay.
If we need it, we can ask for it, and some clients do provide it. In this scenario, this was pulled right from the long form.
Okay.
But as you can see, the whole clip portrays emotion.
Yes,
0 dead space.
That's definitely huge.
You can tell he's heated about this. Yeah. So in highly emotional moments, we stop the B-roll. So as you can see in the beginning, first 5-10 seconds, we had B-roll.
Yeah.
Then because that's storytelling, he's telling a story.
Yeah.
So you want
B-roll. Do you normally push a lot of the B-roll to the beginning to make sure attention's captured, and then once the story starts, you
100%. So a lot of B-roll in that first 10 seconds. Then if we get into storytelling, we slow down on the B-roll and any pop-ups. Now, the music on this clip is also pretty important. This clip without music wouldn't have done as well, but just like with a little slow, basically kind of an emotional music behind it.
My bills, bro. I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
Yeah. So this is a very emotional. So we're not going to pop up here. Those are fighting words, boxing glove emojis on the fucking screen. Like, we're letting it rip. So this is a moment where really the biggest point of this clip was to portray emotion. So the most important part of this entire editing process was actually creating the moment. It wasn't at all adding subtitles or anything like that. It was purely getting this moment perfect so that it portrayed some kind of emotion.
Yeah.
Fighting
Let's
words.
check it out here.
Look at me.
No,
That's
but
fighting words, bro. You don't
would
bring
you
up
say,
somebody's father.
Would you say
bro.
that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
That I beat the brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him. The last
Yeah, I noticed also it ends very quickly. You don't leave space for people
No.
to drop off even at the very end, which
Yeah,
is
the
smart.
second the clip is over, they're leaving a comment and then they start rewatching it again. And they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's
And
no
so,
space.
and this is also such a triggering post that you're probably going to farm so many comments and so much extra retention for people like staying on here and commenting.
100%.
Well, there it is. Thank you for that. A live review of what actually goes into making a viral video.
Yeah, it's a lot. And that was a good example because that's a clip that I feel like anybody can do because the editing wasn't that hard. But in actuality,
the B-rolls weren't a huge deal. Yeah, it's just the simple.
In actuality, it's the storyline of it. That's what makes these clips go viral, and that's what content is you got to tell a story. And so yeah, that's what we set out to do in every clip. It's a mini story. It's like a little fairy tale that you can consume in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I feel like clipping the getting the timestamps right is probably the most important, like 80% plus.
Yeah.
Of the job, because that moment, even if it didn't have animated text, or even if it didn't have the B-roll, I still think
still would have done well.
So emotional and so perfect for a short.
Exactly, and that's why I tell people you don't even have to know how to edit that well. Just use like you could have used CapCut and splice that up together.
And all of that, yeah. And then what about like if you have a clip? So here, actually, there's two things I want to bring up. One thing is, what do you do if someone has a clip that would be good, but the hook doesn't create context yet for it?
Yeah. So
you ever put a text hook on screen? Because I noticed, I'll bring my screen in back for a second. I just did a video on this, but I noticed, I don't know if you know Diary of a CEO, but he's like a
I do.
famous podcaster. I noticed something that really actually surprised me is that in almost all of his podcast clips, he covers the captions with a text hook for the first like 15 seconds of the clip. See, like the text hook is here for the 10, 11, 12 seconds into it. Then the captions come on screen. I know he runs like A/B tests on his content and sees like what works better. And so I'm pretty sure he scientifically came to, well, this ended up working better. I was so surprised.
The reason in
more
my
important
mind,
captions, like
the reason in my mind he does that is because the nature of his guests are probably not very hook worthy. Like you have a neurosurgeon on. A neurosurgeon doesn't know how to clip farm. They're just going to talk about, well, the brain works like this. And that's not really a good hook, saying the brain works like this. So you have to have whatever the pseudo hook is there, but a text on the bottom that basically dumbs down what the hook is. Like if the brain surgeon is like, when your neurons fire when you get into the cold plunge, it's a very entertaining experience and blah. Nobody knows what the fuck he's trying to say. Really what he's trying to say is the cold plunge will extend your life. So that's what the text should be. Brain surgeon explains how cold plunge extends your life. People are like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I can watch this now.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way for a hook. Like if you actually go back to his page, I think he had Hormozy on. And I think Hormozy was probably one of very few people.
Yeah, and look, he actually has the captions.
He has the subtitles there because it's a fucking hook. That's what I noticed. I'm like, when they're good, when it's a more boring one, he'll put those up.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't know who any of these fucking guests are. I have no idea who any of these people are. And when I saw Hormozy, I knew instantly, and it just so happened that had the captions on it.
Yeah.
Now that one,
wow, that's actually crazy. They're literally putting this
cover the captions.
Yeah, it's not even edited out.
Because that's the hook. The hook is the text.
Yeah.
You need to hear this profound story today. Why do they feel the need to put that there? Because nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. Yeah. On the other end, nobody knows, and he probably didn't make a good hook. So that's 100%. How they do it. Another way that we create hooks if content is boring, or if there's just not a good hook worthy moment. is randomly throughout the video, there will be a like a really funny moment, but it's not at the start of the clip. It's like the middle of the clip. And I explained this in one of my videos where what we actually do sometimes is we reverse the order. A lot of people
Right.
go hook, story, end. We'll switch it to the
And
hook of the video goes in the middle. The end comes all the way around.
starts.
So you
Yeah.
start with the ending and then
Yeah.
end with the middle. It's
Yeah.
very
So it's
weird,
like,
but it works.
yeah, I actually, you do see that in some storytelling books too, where it'll be like they'll give the outcome and then they'll be like, but how did this
But this
happen?
is how we got
You
here.
know what I mean? Yeah,
Exactly.
how did we get here, you know? I feel like the visual, right? So like my view on it also is that like a text hook on screen can be, or any visual actually for that matter, can be processed so much quicker than a uh any words you can speak. So I can't speak
100%.
as fast as a human brain can process. I could flash an image on a screen for half a second and you would still see it before I could ever say what the thing was about.
100%.
So for some of my shorts that I'm starting to pull up soon, I'm starting to like incorporate B-roll into it, but to make it like unique, I'm recording my own B-rolls. So like recording my own clips that actually of myself doing the things that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I have like a big batch of clips of me. And one of them that I'm planning on doing for like when I talk about YouTube shorts is like a clip of me holding this up in the first like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
always in
yeah,
the
yeah.
first 1 to 3
That's a
seconds, because it's
that is
like
a
when
great
someone's
visual hook.
scrolling, they're like, oh, like they hear like, here's how to YouTube shorts. It's like, okay, what the fuck, bro? I get a million of these. And then it's like, here's how to YouTube, and then it's pulled up instantly. That
Yeah.
visual hook does so much on top of, because I can't get verbal words out of my mouth fast enough for people to trust me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But visually I can.
100%. That's a great way to do it. There's visual hooks, there's storytelling hooks. There's a lot of pages on Instagram that are now popularizing this and
Yeah,
making
I've seen so
content
many
on
of
it.
those recently. This is a
Exactly.
visual hook. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
whoa,
that's the
whoa.
exact
Yeah.
video I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that kind of stuff is very important for short form, and we utilize all of those things without ever having a name to it. And it was something where um it's funny, like people are bringing this up to me. I'm like, oh yeah, we do that, and they're like, oh well, when I asked you if you did this kind of method, you said no. I'm like, well, I just did it because I thought it worked. I didn't know there was a whole, like the way Alex Hormozy sells people. My buddy listened to me do a sales call, and he got off. He's like, dude, you just Hormozied that guy. I'm like, the fuck do you mean you just Hormozy that guy? He's like, well, you let them talk in the beginning and figured out exactly what they wanted and then sold them exactly what they wanted because they
Yeah.
told you. I'm like, dude, I just did that because that's what I learned over the years. And then I watched this Hormozy video and it's the exact same. So there's just things that you will learn. Like you don't have to go and watch all these videos if you don't, if you get out there and get experience, you'll fall on your face and you'll learn these things. And they everything I do has a fancy name to it that I don't even realize. Like this is a visual hook. But for us, it's like, yeah, I just held up my YouTube
Yeah,
black to
yeah.
work, I guess,
Yeah,
you
to
know?
make it clear what I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna say you should just post all your sales calls. I know a bunch of people that
I'm
are pretty
going
viral
to.
on Instagram, and I think you would be pretty viral on YouTube as well for just being like just a title that just said, I closed a 20K sale, lol.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
and then just literally went right
Was it?
into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm writing that down actually. Next time I do a
Yeah.
sales
Because
call,
that's also something you can record at. That's what I have been really enjoying recently. Is things that where the content itself is me doing something productive. Because right,
yeah,
recording a separate YouTube video, it's like, okay, I have to take time out of my day to make extra content. But a podcast like this, actually, I would talk to you and learn as much as I possibly can
yeah.
discussing with
Well,
you anyway. And
yeah,
now I'm getting
same
so much
here.
free content out of it that I'm like,
100%.
I'm super happy with that. So a sales
Yeah,
call is the exact same thing. Same with like a
definitely,
Q&A on my Discord, posting those.
dude. Yeah,
And same with, I was going to start just like you have a deal where it's like, yeah, fine. You want to talk to me? It'll be $1,000 if you want an extra
yeah,
call. I might
exactly.
do
And
start doing something like that and then
dude, I
posting
got
that
I got hate
publicly
comments
for
for that.
anyone to see, and
I
just a
got
titled video. It's like, so like someone just paid me 250 for this information.
Yeah, and
Like
$250 an
for
hour
this
for this
YouTube
phone
Shorts
call.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Because think of all the sauce we just dropped on here for 2.5 hours, right?
Mhm.
Like somebody at a business would have paid for this information.
Yeah,
This
100%.
this call is worth like 50 grand to some company. You just have to find the people who have the money to do that.
Yeah.
And it would be worth
And
it to
where it
them.
would be worth it. Like Amalfi Jets, who you do the same exact service as you do
Exactly.
for all these other people for, but a 5x for them is an extra bill. Where a
Exactly.
5x for
The bill for them is
yeah.
extremely high, and we do the same thing that we do for people with a low bill. Like, it's
I meant
crazy.
bill like billion, but yeah.
Well, that too.
Yeah. But also a bill for a bill. Yeah.
A bill, yeah, a bill for a bill.
A bill, yeah. Okay, so I think that's enough content for the day. How did
Yeah,
you get into martial arts and jujitsu?
yeah. So
Saw that on your Instagram.
I
I
wrestled in
did it
high
a little bit
school.
in the past year, and
Yeah, I'll show you.
it's definitely super enjoyable, but it's also super gay at the same time. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm still not sure where I stand on it, but
that's me. That's a painting of me actually at a competition for jujitsu recently.
that's sick.
But I wrestled in high school, um, and through like just wrestling and combat sports and watching the UFC, and obviously when I got bullied when I was younger,
Mm.
the best way for me to like defend myself was self defense, combat. And so yeah, I mean, I would get picked on a little bit and get into a scrap, and eventually people would realize not to pick on me anymore. So it paid off, but it was just wrestling.
So
I
you've
boxed.
gotten in street fights before?
I've
Street
gotten
fights?
a handful of street fights. They were just some of them were just shoving matches that you know you slap like I try not to go close fist. I don't want to break my hand. So
Mhm.
I'll slap a guy if they're getting too close or whatever. But then I
I'll make
got
sure
out
to
of
be nice to you if we ever meet.
I'm the kindest guy. I hate confrontation. Like, I actually went to a bar for the first time ever a week ago for my buddy's birthday, and I went, and this guy was being a jerk off and being an asshole and whatever.
Mhm.
And all my buddies are talking shit. They're getting in each other's faces, and somebody has this funny picture, and if I find it, I'll send it to you and pop it up on the screen. I'm at the bar and I'm standing in the background, just like sipping my water, watching my buddies, because the calmest guy is the one who's been there. Because I fight in some context of the word every day for at least an hour. Like I'm either at jujitsu for an hour, boxing for an hour, Muay Thai for an hour, and like wrestling for an hour. I'm always somewhere. And recently not because I've had some health issues, but for the last 4 years, that's been my life every day,
Mhm.
sometimes twice a day.
Do you
So
do you do MMA?
no,
That's fucking
well,
scary,
yeah.
bro. I've
So
done boxing for like a year, and then I did jujitsu, and I'm like kind of out of it right now.
when you're in
But
jujitsu,
yeah.
it's easy to get into MMA. So yeah, I've done everything. I mean, I roll with some UFC fighters, Matt
Wow.
Costel, Rafion Stantz, who's huge, and yeah, I mean, just a lot of professional MMA fighters will roll with, and a guy who just got signed to the UFC. His name is Cuban Problem. He's a 145er. He's awesome, and he's very, very good at wrestling. So, and when you go with these guys and they're doing jujitsu with you, you end up wanting to do MMA with them. You get your ass beat. It's fun. So, but yeah, I got into it. I compete a lot. Not as much anymore, but when I first started, I did a lot. I was competing like once every 2 months, and did like 3 or 4 competitions, and it's been 3 or 4 years now of doing it, but I just business kind of distracted me a little bit from competing. But this year my goal was to compete more. Got super
Mhm.
sick the last 2 months, but I'll probably compete another like 2 or 3 times this year in jiu-jitsu, and it's very nerve-wracking. um
Yeah.
it freaks you out. It's scary. It's hard as shit. Like your lungs hurt after. You're giving it your all, and you just get so exhausted. And it's like I said, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey for me. Jiu-jitsu is a very spiritual thing for me as well. It's
Mhm.
very, um, definitely is gay at times, but if you're never in a gay position, that means you're good at it. So
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I try
Or
and help
as long
people
as
out.
you're the one on top. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the better you are, the more at times you end up on top.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. It's a lot of fun. Meet a lot of really cool people.
Mhm.
Funny enough, somebody who works full time at Clipper right now, named Jesse, I met him through jujitsu. So you meet a lot of really cool people, and A lot of guys from jiu-jitsu get you to be a tougher guy, and being an entrepreneur, being mentally tough is very important. And these guys will push you, like these Brazilian dudes I'm friends with, and they will push you to your limits and call you a pussy if you tap out. Like, it's crazy, but it's so helpful. It's literally been the best thing I've probably ever done in my life was jiu-jitsu. So yeah,
Yeah.
having a great gym for it is very important. I advise like everybody to at least try it.
Yeah, I kind of got into it through lifting, and then through there I was like, all right, I'm working out a bunch. I feel like a
Yeah.
martial art would be cool, so I did some boxing. Um, I always at some point after boxing, I was like, there's some days where I want to practice, but I don't want to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And so that's one downside of striking. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try jujitsu, because you can go all out pretty much in terms of like
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
attempting to like win the fight and not
Yep.
have to worry about hurting or getting hurt really.
100%.
And that's what's so cool
That's
about
why
it.
it's so great. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you can fully try to beat somebody's ass, and they have a way of telling you like, all right, you won.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you just go again. It's like it's a never ending battle.
With boxing, the damage happens before they tell you, all right, you won.
Exactly.
In
Yeah.
jujitsu, it happens after. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, dude, this was an incredible podcast. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
this
for
is
being
awesome.
a guest. I've
course.
learned a lot, and I think the audience has as well.
I learned a lot